And we're back. Thanks for hitting refresh, everybody. We are stealing Wi-Fi from the old lady who lives upstairs, but it's time to get back into the games. We got DDK and Jake on the mic, and we just saw Abrams take down low-key W despite what we thought was an interesting draft. DDK, this sets up a rematch, though, and a good one from last week because after 14 straight wins, Leviathan finally beat the Abrahams to win the crown on Night Shift 28.
But now they have to prove if they are really truly the best at Deadlock, because part of being really good at Deadlock is doing what Abraham's just did. And you see they got like a game shifting patch and you're able to be like, yep, I understand like principally what we should, like what's the strongest, and we're going to run it. So it should be interesting from that point of view, because Abrahams have always been able to do that, I feel like. Whereas for Leviathan, we'll have to see if they can do the same.
I know a lot of people recognize us from other shooters. I, of course, am working on the Call of Duty League, DDK from CS, and Jake from Overwatch and any other shooter that requires you to move. But we're going to be talking some in-depth stuff here on the game. But with the new patch, I also want you guys to dumb it down, because Julian from Rainbow Six is here, hitting the resub. We've got a lot of Call of Duty fam, including my guy Enable, who only has like this much of a thumb and was still a world champion. We've got some other folks checking it out from the Halo universe. So this is Deadlock, this is the new patch, and you're about to watch the best EU team. So let's introduce you to the rosters. Solomon, if you will, show us the returning champions. Leviathan, causing a major upset last week. They're sexy as hell. Overseas, Freemock, Rake, OC, Sai, and Razumi. Who are you watching, Jake?
Sai was such an exciting player to watch. I feel like they're not going to let him get the Moe and Krill, though. I mean, he kind of tore them up on the Moe and Krill last week. That was, I think, big part of the success that Leviathan won game one off the back of Sai just being an absolute menace on the character. And now that I think it's quite a bit stronger than before, I feel like Abrahams almost is obliged to ban that out first. If they let it through, it could be at their own peril. But I think that there's questions across the board, right? Can these players still keep up on the new patch? Like, Abrahams have just shown, hey, we are absolutely ready to come back and dominate. For Leviathan, it's like, you know, they didn't come into last week expecting to win. They maybe believed it was possible, and they for sure played their hearts out to get it done. But can you really come into this week and defend? I mean, it's one thing to be the underdog with a puncher's chance and you know, the game starts going your way, the excitement builds. It's another thing now to have the anticipation and the questions being asked, Abraham's having the opportunity to review, to update their play, to get better, to fix mistakes. Defending would be, I think, another level of achievement for this Leviathan team.
This will be a best of three, and I sure hope Moe and Krill gets through at least one of them, with three players saying that's their favorite character. DDK, who do you think has the sexiest Moe and Krill on Leviathan?
I'm gonna say Freemock. I feel like Freemock
is Maurice.
To me, I just associate Freemock more deeply with the Moe and Krill lore, the Moe and Krill universe.
Why do these guys have three people with Moe? Like, they're pandering to the Moe and Krill fan base, and the thing is, it's working. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter that they know it's working.
There's a lot of Moe Krill talk in the chat. They're excited to hopefully see Krill make his way on to the Cursed Apple. Sonya Sniper together. Saint, Taz, Demov, and Hoot, though, are a 14-time champion squad. They're coming in for number 15 after taking a week off. They looked really clean in our warm-up match, despite what went down in the draft. Is the new meta the double support? And do you expect it again, DDK?
I could certainly see it again from Abrahams. I'm curious if they perceive the meta, or like the picks, where there's other synergies that don't necessarily include that, because it might just be optimal in terms of the setup that they were able to get at the top of the draft last time. And so maybe there's a world where they depart from that, depending on how the top of the draft goes this time and where the bans fall. So I'm curious from that perspective, because it might not be as simple as just to support equal good. So we'll see what they do this time.
Jake, what do you want?
Just excited to see where Demov and Hoot take us. I mean, Demov, we're like, the fact that he can just pull out the support, I will say I don't think Rem is necessarily the hardest character to pilot for professional players, but it's still a big value to the team that they have the flexibility to comfortably go there. Taz flexing on the Celeste and still looking amazing on that character, right? So cool to see Taz maybe a little bit more open. Another thing you think about is no pick heroes in the draft for Abrahams. They're just thinking, hey, we don't actually need one. Like, we're just going to be so dominant in the lanes. We're going to be so scary in a team fight. all we need is the Kelvin Dome. We put you in a Thunderdome, we're gonna kill you. You like, what are you gonna do? Not contest objectives, not contest runes and urns? Like, you gotta take those fights sometime. And so I think across the board for Abrahams, they look very well adjusted to this new patch. The biggest question for me is, are Leviathan going to be able to update their gameplay so quickly? They just climbed a mountain in like surpassing Abrahams, getting the win in the most recent or the previous patch. Doing it again, it would boggle the mind, frankly, guys. Like, I feel worried for them, because I just think
you don't think they can pick up the new patch as fast as their opponent?
I'm scared. Abrahams won a lot of times in a row. They'll need a couple more losses before I really think they've been knocked off the top spot. Like, I give credit to Leviathan for that win, and they absolutely earned it. But I feel like you can also explain that by saying, look, maybe Abrahams are off their game. Maybe they didn't have the best week. They won so many in a row. Maybe they were overconfident. Very easy. There were signs of that in the previous week. You know, they had been playing they played a meme build on D-Mob's Ulti 7, and they lost a map in that series. You know, they get the win in the end, but it started to maybe show, hey, they started to feel undefeatable. And I feel like now this is the true power of Abrahams to be on display. If you can win again, there's going to be a much bigger shift, I think, in the true power rankings of the top teams in EU right now.
What is going to be the draft choice for each squad? Abrahams get the ban first. They are not used to this. Normally the challenger gets that honor. This week they have to come through challengers, so Leviathan will have to wait and see. Was Mo and Krill in the cards tonight, or will it get banned out first? That's what went down in the EU challengers. And Mo, we'll see you later. What does that tell you, DDK? What are they playing instead?
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the Mo, I guess. Still too good. It's kind of crazy because he did get tuned down a little bit, but all right. I don't even know what Leviathan would want to pick. If they just watched that last game, are they going to select one of the supports? Okay, they take away Celeste, which was something that Abrahams did get to play deep into their last draft.
I almost feel like stealing the Kelvin away would be a good look here. The question is sort of, when do you do it? And because if you don't take it in the first two, I don't know that you're going to get it. I think Abrahams would be happy to get in the third spot. That said, for Abrahams, the Sonya's Mina performance for Sonya, it's just like, look, we can fit this into any comp, any style. We kind of don't care what you pick. We're going to be happy to play the Mina. Very understandable. This is the moment where Leviathan, I think the most crucial moment, frankly, of the entire series could be right now, how they set the tone with this counter draft. They grabbed the Billy, which I think did look good, but I feel like you need to take away Kelvin, because the Kelvin kind of dominated Billy in the last game, right? Like, every time Billy comes up, he gets his big change, big initiation. Nullified. And then he's just like 1v5 in the dome, and he just can't fight his way through that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And they do take silver away, though. So,
this is a different.
You can have your Kelvin, but we're taking your silver out.
Exactly. We will step up in the Thunderdome, is what they're saying. Like, okay, like, we take the Kelvin, we are coming into that dome, and we will still kill you.
But Abrahams kind of need to take the Kelvin then, lest they get banned away. Unless this is with that point that I was making, where maybe the double support was a crime of opportunity in the previous draft, and right now maybe that's something that they're not going to go to again. But they get the Venator, so we saw Hoot was on that and looks really great on it. So they got the two like hardcore DPS carries that they had in the previous matchup, and then they prioritize Ivy here. So yeah, it's a totally different approach on the supports.
Ivy was a big fan favorite in the chat. Jake, for us COD kids, explain it. Why is Ivy cool?
She just buffs her core's DPS. So like, when you're linked up to somebody, you're going to share heals with them. You're going to give them extra DPS. And Leviathan, by the way, go
Sniper?
Vindicta. Vindicta was untouched, by the way, in the last series, completely unpicked. This character, though, it does. You have a sniper as an ultimate, and every kill you get with your sniper increases your gun damage for the rest of the game. So you stack up those kills, there's theoretically no limit to your potential.
Is that overseas OCs? Who plays Vindicta on the team?
I kind of wonder, because I think Vindicta can be played as a hard carry, where you get a ton of farm and you just become like a monster damage dealer. However, you're very squishy, and so I think she's better in like a more tempo role, where you're not going to scale to the end game, but you're going to be very active in the early game. And so could be like a Sai hero, who was our MVP in their last week's win over Abraham. So maybe Sai can show out on the Vindicta. It's a very like feast or famine type hero, though. If you don't get any of those kills, you're not scaling your gun, you're going to feel pretty weak and impotent. However, you can also take over the game quickly and just tempo the opponent out. And the way they're drafting, it feels like they want to go for that latter scenario. A lot of aggressive brawling heroes right now.
Blue feet, I don't expect any impotence here, DDK. What do you expect, though, from the Abrahams as they go for their fourth pick?
I mean, adding something to the front line could be important. I mean, in terms of the front line, yeah, Shiv and Abrams are the only thing that really stands out. And Shiv did get nerfed a little bit, but the knife, I think the knife builds is still probably going to be very challenging. And Shiv still has enormous tank ability, as he always did. So I think that's a solid pick. Paradox, we haven't seen Paradox yet. Paradox did get a bunch of changes. I'll be really curious to see Abraham's like giving Paradox a go. I've actually been really looking forward to seeing that.
Jake, I just got an update from Hoot in chat. It looks like they did prioritize the Kelvin ban and not the Celeste. Celeste may have been the second ban.
Yeah, so we might
don't know if we just had it out of order on the UI.
Draft. So actually, I think
that is kind of explaining why we haven't seen him this late.
Yeah, and why they went with the Ivy instead of the Kelvin, right? In that third pick, it was their sort of backup choice. Celeste, though, is still another hero you want to take away, and they go for both the Page and the Geist here. So, I mean, Geist is kind of your late game here, kind of your security on the game. But I mean, I feel like Leviathan, they're doubling down on what worked for them last week, which is, I mean, these are sort of a new look on that style from the new patch, but a lot of high tempo choices, a lot of early fighting, and then Geist is kind of like your solo end game, like ultra carry. Ooh. And hopefully, you know, characters like Silver, Vindicta, and Calico, Billy are going to kind of be able to bridge that gap for her. Apollo from Abraham is a pretty surprising choice. This character, though, has gotten a couple positive tweaks, a little buffs here and there in some of these tweak patches after that huge patch that did drop. So curious to see if this is like a Demon of Apollo, something he's looked very strong on in the past and maybe feels effective. Kind of feel like this is anybody's game, though. Like two very aggressive styles. Like no one is really going like super greedy in this draft, right? Like both teams, I think, are investing heavily into their ability to fight, play aggressive in the early game, and get that early advantage.
We're expecting a pocket if you're in the Twitch chat right here, DDK. They go for Apollo instead. And did Leviathan purposely make sure there was no supports for Abrahams to play, or who would be in that role, if anybody, for Abrahams right now?
Playing support? Oh, the second support, you mean? Well, we had it with Demoff before when Rem was available, but again, because of the way the draft went, they decided that not to get the Rem. It seemed like that was just based off of what they could found the best synergies on with I think the top three that they got last time. But I do think the Apollo is an interesting choice to round it out with. I'm curious about your take on Jake as well, because to me, one of the things that stands out with Apollo is he could be very harassing to the Vindicta with those lunges, which would be really annoying.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think he's a good hero at like getting on top of characters that want to run away. He's one of the most mobile characters in the entire game who has pretty significant damage to boot. I also think it's a good matchup against Lady Geist because her ultimate, if you don't know, it swaps HP value. So you could be on 1 HP, you're fighting somebody who's completely full, and you completely 180 flip it. You're now on full HP, they're at almost nothing, and you just get a free kill. However, Apollo's ultimate curses you, which means you can't cast skills, you're slowed, and it does a big burst of damage, and it's incredibly long range. So as Geist, if you're trying to play on low HP, you run an extreme risk of just getting finished off and nuked, not getting your ultimate off if Apollo can follow through with that burst from Itali Losan.
A quick reminder, you can hit !donate and add to the prize pool, much like Colaris did. And a big shout out to one of the OG voices of esports. We have Anders, the CS legend, in here. Show him some love. We'll make him a VIP.
All right, well, it's time, Jake. What do you make of the starting lanes again, like the configuration here? Previously, we had Abrahams like dominating the side lanes, and I mean, are you expecting to see the same approach here? Although it's a totally different roster of heroes.
Yeah, I like that they're putting Obakim on support alongside Hoot. This is going to be a nice lane to just defend tower, clear waves. Page Billy is a notoriously challenging lane to fight into early. The shields Page gives, the extra HP Billy gets from meleeing with his passive. You just don't want to take trades with this hero, but Ivy has a nice way of playing this lane, which is just shoot creeps, chill behind the tower, get a ton of farm, and not really worry about giving trades. Just don't let Billy and Paige get the actual kills that they need to get an explosive snowball going. And there's absolutely going to be room to recover as the game progresses. So I think that's a nice matchup for them there. You're looking over to the mid lane. Calico Geist makes a ton of sense for Leviathan because Geist is very happy to solo waves and get all the farm for herself. Well, Calico could just rotate, which, yeah, she's rotating pre 2 minutes, so a very unexpected early gank for Psy. We'll see if it pays off early, but it seems like maybe too close to the tower to really go commit for that.
Yeah, that's it feels pretty scary. When you get that level 2 slash as well, I think it went from like 350 bonus souls. I think it's like 250 now or something. So they removed it a little bit, but the snowball from a Calico that's active and like playing well early is pretty oppressive. But I'm curious what again like your take is on this mid lane as well in terms of priority here, Jake, because Apollo Paradox feels pretty annoying, but Geist is also very annoying to lane against.
Yeah, Geist is a very stable and enduring hero, right? So I think this is actually not an ideal matchup for Paradox and Apollo. Like, you don't really want to dive Geist under tower. She's gonna like lifesteal up from you and kind of outlast what you think she normally would from her health bar, and she can play pretty safe and just hold wave. So I actually think laning wise in the mid, it's actually an advantage for Leviathan because Psy just has opportunities to make stuff happen in the side lanes and to get a big advantage clearing boxes. Time Wall being deployed, it's mostly just a battle for the creeps, but I just don't really see kills coming in this mid lane unless there's a big overextension.
Yeah, it's a good point about Geist being able to free up the roam for Psy on Calico, who is again like running the boxes right now, and in that sense, you know, if there is a gank to be had, is in position to be able to do that. But so far, things are actually relatively calm. I think the last match had a lot more action in the first few minutes than this one.
Like, you go in, you put some damage on OCs, but it's just like nothing meaningful, right? And even a wave starting to crash on mid. So Abrahams are pretty aggressive, like looking for something here. I'm curious to see though the final side lane with Rake and looks like Rake and Fremont on the Silver Vindicta. See how they're doing against Shiv and Mina. Shiv and Mina, a lot of spear damage from that lane, man. You really have to respect it. It looks like Fremont is on an early base trip because of some of the poke coming in. So the big change to Shiv now is that I think the meta build is going to be the knife build once again. You stack these knives up now, they don't deal impact damage, but the DPS is a lot higher, the scaling's a lot better. So late in the game, man, you could have like 4 or 5 knives in somebody and they will legitimately die from full HP.
Yeah.
Like, this Vindicta is going to tick down unbelievably here because of these knives. I mean, maybe just 2 in the early game is not the end of the world. So he's just going to disrespect it in Mach 4, but this Shiv, he's weak early, but he will scale into a monster if he gets some souls. Oh, didn't Sanguine Retreat is used, but I think Vindicta looking to put some counter pressure on there. So the good heal up from Fremont brings him back into this lane and puts Abrahams really on their heels.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see how Sanya plays as well in this game, because Sanya managed to get a lot of freedom in the first 10 minutes in the previous game that allowed him to get like ahead really quickly. So I'm going to be really interested to see if Sanya can repeat that performance. Quick catch here onto Hoots on the Venator once again. The chain gang comes on through as well. The captivating reads is slowing Hoots' ability to disengage from this one, and so he's going to die. I mean, that's what you're talking about. That's that Page Billy combo. That's very, very oppressive in the well, I was gonna say early game, but basically
Zipknock,
the entire game.
Wait, they're not killing him? No. Oh my god. Okay,
it's too far away. Yeah,
super
I think it's
long range
Vindicta from
him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's lucky, man. Rake is like 20 souls from ult to have a free kill there. That is, you got to be sweating that one on Sanya. And in contrast to last game, right, where Sanya had an amazing start and kind of snowballed from out, I think they're potentially going to lose the tower here. And even the Snipe's just committed to ensure that this drops down. It's a nice one to find to open up space for Fremont and Rake. Rake is now unleashed from the side lane. He can just go start fighting here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, based on this, it's an ulti-max build. He might be just going rapid recharge very quick off the bat. Although Mina would love a counter kill. Both Mina and Vindicta are incredibly squishy characters, so it's going to be an explosive lane one way or the other in this one.
Yeah, and it's definitely not the strong start that Sanya had, because that was a part of it too. The lanes went really well last game for Abrahams. But another dive comes through again, and it's so difficult to prevent this. Just look at the chase downs. I mean, you don't get much better chase down than Calico coming in on side as well. And that's going to be another Guardian converted. So Abrahams, they're taking some hits here on these side lanes early on.
Yeah, I mean, Dimov came into this one, but wasn't really able to have any impact on the situation. Tower still goes down. Billy still picks up farm. Now he's going to snatch away a little bit of this side jungle camp. Doesn't want to overstay his welcome, but hey, feels confident. It's like, hey, it's just Ivy here, and Saint's playing a little bit scared. I'm just going to start snatching these jungle camps away. And these kind of small advantages are what start to build. And the scary thing is that it's happening in all 3 lanes simultaneously. It's not a blowout anywhere individually on the map, but Leviathan are winning every single fight they're taking so far. I don't think I've seen really one winning trade for Abrahams just yet. And that's reflected in the soul count here. 6,000 soul lead. We're 7 minutes in. That is actually quite a dire scenario. Like, this could be a comeback earn for the very first earn, which would bring Abraham's kind of right back into the game, but it also exposes you to like risking a team fight to pick up that earn and actually maybe falling even further behind.
Yeah, Abrahams need those Guardians to go down to begin to equalize this. And we're going to have a fight break out on the left side lane. 3 players here for Abrahams. You're talking about winning fights. This could be a really good opportunity for them here as they look to try to close in on top of Freemok here on this Silver. Getting really low, just getting absolutely battered by the Nox Nostra. And there you go. That will be a conversion from Abrahams. A 1 kill.
That was way too close for comfort, right? Freemok almost gets the Lycan curse off. Taz nearly dies to some of that burst. And you invested a lot into that gank. Like, you do get the kill, but it just shows how much on the edge of a knife this game is for Abrahams. Sai going in, being aggressive here, pulling some attention. But he has ulti. He's kind of playing with the house cash here. Although, hold on. Wait, maybe he got slowing hexed? He must have, because he just doesn't get his ulti there off on Calico. Gets killed. So 2 kills, actually, that kind of bring Abrahams now back into the fold in this game.
And still more chase down here, potentially. Although he might get disengaged. But again, I think Abraham's very hungry to take these Guardians down. This still 3 Guardians up at the 9-minute mark is, at this level of play, definitely a sign that things are not going great.
Yeah, Geist has taken over this right side lane, and OCs, we'll see you in about 15 minutes, brother. Like, enjoy farming the jungle. The rest of the team is going to be heavy fighting. That's really the nature of this draft. We'll see if it pays off, although Shiv sees his target, finds a chance to chase down the nerfs to Shiv. The stamina starting to bite, but he still slips past that binding read. Can he find the execute? Seems not for now, but also Billy can't connect with the chain. So an in and out from Shiv kind of steals some resources away. A missed parry, though. Calico here, and now maybe good money after bad here. Saint getting hunted. Snipe looking to connect here. And Saint just wants to deny that infinite gun scaling here from the Vindicta. So a good idea actually to die inside here to deny some of that potential.
Let's go blue.
Yeah, 4K difference here, so somewhat marginal at this point now. Some recovery. And given the fact that these Guardians are still up, that's going to be hard to maintain forever for Leviathan. But we'll see whether they're able to do it. Taz on the Paradox, kind of alone against the Silver right now. Some Freemok is always going to be a danger to be up against it when you're alone. The Paradox is extremely mobile.
Uh-oh. Mina, no Sanguine. Calico looking to get some of those extra souls and a 420 bag to boot. Nice little pickup from Sai. And I mean, despite the incredible level of activity from him, he's at 8.2k. I mean, he's like right near the top of the soul counts of this game. D-Mob, though, looking to punish. The rest of Abrams coming in here. They want to take this crucial mid lane Guardian. Some of these good fights, ironically, kind of punish Abrahams because they don't get a comeback earn now. It's going to be an even earn turn in, and the advantage is such that Leviathan are going to be just hankering for a full-on team fight, one that could blow the game wide open.
Yeah, that's making its way forward, and you know these towers have to be cleaned up, so that's the priority for Abrahams on the left lane. If they could get some kills out of this as well, that'd be excellent. But it's Vindicta who's behind the Guardian at the moment, as well as Freemok on the Silver.
Vin and Silver are 2v4ing here, though. I mean, it's like huge if they just live. I mean, defending feels impossible into that numbers advantage, but the fact that you don't get any kills there and you give up the earn, it's like that Abrahams really felt weak in that moment. If that's the trade they go for, they just didn't feel they could do any better.
And now it's almost stretching to a 10k disadvantage. So the lead is growing here for Leviathan. So it's becoming a problem. Taz getting caught. He's been very isolated in this position multiple times now, but finally it looks like there should be the ability to finish him off. Taz, great movement though on the Paradox. Somehow alive. I have no idea how Taz lived through that.
Oh, slips away and the team is there to support. So Rayek is like, I mean, he's so desperate to get those kills and start the scaling with the rapid recharge build, but Abrahams have been doing fantastically well at denying that particular scaling. So Rayek probably not going to be too much of a monster in this game. I mean, he can still be pretty effective even without the gun scaling and can still offer some really nice shred and catch and burst in the late game, but he won't really scale into a gun carry without finding those kills. So it's does mitigate some of the damage. This game is absolutely still in contention for Abrahams despite the advantage that Leviathan have accrued.
Yeah, I think Sanya's keeping up pace decently. Whenever you're up against OCs, I think, you know, OCs is probably, I don't know if you disagree, Jake, but I think he's the king of farming in Europe. I don't think there's anyone that does it better than OCs. And so given that they've been struggling, you know, OC's at 14k, Sanya's 11k, that again, given the struggles on the Abrahams team from a macro point of view, I feel like that's a pretty decent place to be. And for Sanya, obviously, you know, going to be looking to try to start getting a bit more competitive in some of these fights where the real money can be made.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing echoes of last week in terms of like what Sai talked about in the interview is how the team is so much better together, coordination, understanding what each other want on the map. Now Shiv desperately running for the hills, and a beautiful grab from Saint with the Ivy ult. It's going to pull him out of trouble. And maybe think about re-engaging, but with the creeps crashing on Walker, I think that's going to be a little unrealistic. They're just going to fall back and clear.
Enjoy the Apollo movement. Taz looking to pursue Fremont, gets caught out here. This could be a very important kill if they can get this one, but there's a Lycan Curse. It's going to keep not just Fremont alive, but a huge damage threat. And that's going to force the Sangren retreat, but in comes the Calico as well. Sai looking to punish here, and Sanya is in a lot of trouble trying to float away with the umbrella, but it's looking very, very difficult. 3 players on top and somehow still alive, but 1 shot away from death, and in comes Fremont with the box shot. And that's going to be all she wrote for Sanya. And this is, you mentioned this, I think, in the draft, Jake. Like, the chase down potential from Leviathan is pretty absurd.
Yeah, and for Mina, it's like once you use that Sanguine, and he hasn't been able to get this build online where he has the stamina to play with, right? And I talked about that a lot last game, how effective that build was for Sanya. This game, he's just too poor to have those items. Like a Resto Locket would go a long way in some of those situations, but he just doesn't have the cash, needs to build the damage, needs to be a threat on the map. And Leviathan are exploiting it, but with incredible patience. They are playing like champions right now, Dan. Like, they're not playing scared. They're not playing over-aggressive. They're hitting that perfect middle where they're just comfortably building the lead and making sure that anything Abrahams goes for gets punished. As I say that, though, hold on. Vindicta in a really dire straits here. The rallying charge there from Paige, not enough to save Rayek. So a big catch from Taz, pulling Vindicta down to the low ground. It's going to go unanswered. Telly maybe looking to get a kill, but Calico ultimate. Beautifully timed from Sai, reads that one, and probably not going to find a counter kill. Dimov on the Apollo should be able to slip away, but Abrahams might want more. OC's a short to the fight, though. He's committing. He's showing ultimate used now. The rest of Abrahams want to run. This is a healthy guy starting to run them down. A big, heavy melee maxed out. You're looking to try and get these kills. The buffs do come in onto the guys, but maybe they're not enough. Shiv does find that finishing kill, so OC's out of the jungle. Trades who, but that's an expensive death. 17k on this guy. She does not want to die showing up to a team fight like that. And Abraham's taking their chance now, looking for more. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Billy now has to fall back to the Walker. There's 2 unanswered farmers in the side lane, so Abraham's are actually pretty desperate to find these kills, and the 1-for-1 actually might not be so bad considering both Silver and Calico are farming up that whole time.
Yeah, they grabbed the urn as well. Sai managed to pick that one up during this action, and Abrahams, they need to, as you say, like, win some of these fights and force maybe more chaos to just get these opportunities to capitalize. And Taz not able to stop the urn, just sees it running away off to a delivery spot. And the previous urn was given up for free in exchange for getting some objective, or getting an objective. Will they make the same choice here? There is control on the left side lane. We have Sanya Sniper, who is nearby, so there could potentially be a challenge.
They're fighting
for
right
this
lane.
urn.
Big fight on the right lane right now. Attack is coming in, but it's onto the Ivy. That's a really rough catch. OC slipped away from this one, and the counterpunch is going to be brutal. Ivy can't get away. Rayek finds that blood with the snipe. Calico holding Urn across the map behind Walker. And so, decisive win on the right side of the map for Leviathan. Can Abrams punish on the left side? The TPs are coming in, though. They're trying to get across and punish this Walker push. Looks like Walker is going to be going down. Apollo's used all of his heals. Oh, yeah, okay, does eventually go down, but Mina's in very deep on this one. Looks like both Hoot and Sanya in a tough spot, so potentially the 2 carries going down, although maybe Hoot has slipped away. Sanya, not going to be so lucky.
However, you know, after all is said and done, the soul deficit is only about 4k now. So Abrahams, it does feel late, but it feels desperate and arduous at the best of times. But they are not just preventing the lead from growing; they're actually closing in on equalizing. So it seems really uncomfortable, Jake, but it is working so far. But this urn is looking like it could be a problem here because there's no challenge for this. It's a freebie. And that's going to further extend that lead.
Paige is going to get absolutely everything from that ideal scenario. And yes, the soul lead is not so bad, but you get a walker out of that, and it just, I don't know that the first walker defense is going to be very realistic for Abrahams. It feels like that's almost cash in the pocket for Leviathan, that they just haven't cashed the check yet, really. I mean, they've got a walker down to half HP on the left side. Shiv and Paradox, though, are continuing to keep up the pressure. This is surprising from Abrahams. They're down, and they're looking for more chaos on the map, putting some side walker pressure on. But OCs is starting to run them down, and feeding kills to this Geist is the opposite of what you want. Taz needs clean movement to slip his way out of this one. Doesn't really have much HP to work with. Meanwhile, Dimov elsewhere finds a kill, so punishes the left side push, but looks like still the kill is going to come in for OCs, who getting that Dispel Magic is a nice little buff to pick up. And I mean, he's starting to look a little bit unkillable in the Geist. He's invested in the Spirit Resilience. He's invested now, soon to be in the Dispel Magic, and I feel that Geist will carry this game if we go late enough, and the patience from Leviathan, I think it's going to pay off. I do favor them if they can get to that stage of the game, and right now Abrahams, it doesn't feel realistic for them to really put much more pressure on.
I do like how they've been playing the macro there, like in that previous scenario. Just they created a 3v2 on the left lane, which was what allowed them to get that kill. So they're really trying to do everything that they can in terms of ensuring that they can have numbers advantages on some of these fights by creating pressure in the right ways, the right timings. But right now, you know, we get, I think, both teams that are a little bit more focused on some of the farming that's coming up here. We do have both the bridge buffs as well as the next urn coming up in about a minute. And so you'd have to expect that urn is going to be a huge point of focus. And to be honest, even though Abrahams are behind, they are up a walker here. So that, you know, they're not in a bad spot. As you say, though, the Geist is problematic. But at the same time, you know, Abrahams aren't too far away at the moment in terms of strength.
Yeah, looks like a contest building up on the right side. Billy, Geist, connecting now with some of these players. But Abrahams, they don't want that smoke. They want to back off for now. I mean, fighting into Billy Geist is not the kind of team fight you want. You're looking to maybe punish players here and there. Ivy trying to TP out of this. Finds yourself in an awkward scenario. Does TP out, but with the Lycan Curse, there's still a chance for Silver to run this one down. Although, hold on, you're coming into a dangerous scenario. Another team fight breaking out across the map. Leviathan, they want to invest while this pressure is on. Silver 1v2ing, pulling attention. Oh, Paige is here with her. So this is getting really wild now. Full split across the map. Boot looking to chase forward and maybe punish this Page. Ivy coming in to assist, but the damage coming in. Silver maybe re-engaging on this even without the ult. Rallying charge comes in. Muscle Memory counterspell there, but it just wasn't quite up in time for Hoot to block, and he eventually goes down to Fremont.
Wow, really nice how Page and the Page and Silver play there on either end, sort of forcing you to kind of go one way, then turn the next, and just getting sandwiched. Really well done, and it's again 7k difference here. So I'm just keeping my eye on that because it's relatively tight still, and it's going to be very difficult if OCs is allowed to get too much further ahead. But this is that big urn that I was making mention of. That, I mean, I feel like Abrahams, they've given up the last two urns for free. They have to surely fight for this one, and they do have position right now to fight for it.
Yeah, it looks like they want to maybe go for an interrupt here. Taking a risk, stepping up towards mid. Are they looking for a kill on Psy right now? Are they? Wait, there's no way they're doing mid boss, right? I see Shiv there, but I just can't believe it. Looks like a swap on mid. Irizumi in trouble now on the Page. But if he gets away and it's just a free dunk, the punish for Abraham seems to have not paid off. Okay, they do find Irizumi eventually. Big stake from Vindicta. Could be a counter rotation here and taking a team fight. Shiv recognizes it, wants to just full run for the hill. Psy finds the first punish kill. Shiv running away. A snipe comes in. And to add insult to injury, it's the kill actually going to OC. So he's continuing to snowball his farm on this Geist. Rest of Abraham's trying to stay in the neighborhood. They know there's a potential for a mid-boss take, and they need to be ready to contest it. But with mid-boss near half HP, this one's looking dire. You need to contest this as Abraham's, but can you really make that happen? Down a player here. Leviathan go for the gamble. And meanwhile, Sanya's defending, or rather trying to clear up a walker at the same time. You need to be able to snatch a couple of these rejuves away. One goes the way of Leviathan, the rest being baited on the parries. Everybody just waiting. Insane. He just can't hold his nerve. 1v5. So much patience from Leviathan, and it's rewarded. Sanya, meanwhile, does claim a sidewalker for that, but feels worthwhile for Leviathan. Now it's their time to go around the map and start to open up these walkers. This is, I think, the crucial moment for Abrahams to choose their time to make a hold, because if you don't, this map is going to feel very claustrophobic very quickly, despite the state of the lanes right now.
Yeah, it's oh my god, the push on all the lanes right now is kind of nice, but given now that the rejuves are up for Leviathan, that's only going to last for so long. it's so scary to be out on the map when the rejuves are available. You know, oftentimes you want to be able to set up traps, you know, push people in certain positions, but the rejuve advantage means that if you win a fight, it could just get turned around on you, and then suddenly the other rest of the team can just run you down and take big objectives. So it just changes the calculus completely. And so, you know, you can see it like right now for Abrahams. They're having to be a lot more defensive. They've got 3 walkers to defend those. So those are they're going to be the main objectives. Now, will Leviathan split push those? We'll have to find out here as they are beginning to separate between the left lane and the mid lane.
Looks like they are going to split push. They want to go for the chaotic split, and I mean, OC's going to be solo on that right lane. He's going to be a very scary target. Sonya coming to match, though. Maybe one of the few characters who actually could tango with guys. Sonya's quietly kind of returned to form from the farming perspective. But there's a full court press now across the map. All lanes being pressured. Abraham's doing their best to match and not give anything away for free. They want to punish these pushes. Big damage comes in, and Sai executed by Shiv. Together. Maybe he has to fall back at this Lycan Curse is pop, but it's not clear to me that you can really dive this. Fremont maybe going to go in anyway. The Billy Chain pulls people deep away from that walker. Rallying charge now comes in. Sai finds the finish onto Hoot. He continues to dive for more, looking to maybe burst these kills. Thinks better of that dive deep past the walker now. Maybe somebody's got to turn and clean this one up, but Fremont says no. He keeps going, looking, finds a second kill. Still 2 rejuves to work with. Mid walker is claimed, and likely a second to fall essentially for free because of these player deaths.
Yeah, that left side lane is really pushed, so it should be an easy conversion. The right side should still be maintainable, which would actually mean that the situation's even on walkers, but the situation on the farm is certainly not even at all. And yeah, 3-1 here, can't be defended. A little bit of a fight there as Fremont tries to take on Saint. He was pushing that right side lane out and forced to then disengage, but big advantage now for Leviathan, 20k ahead on the souls.
Mass TP right now. Mina's gonna hear this though. She's gonna know what's going on, and Sonya kind of in enemy territory, but this isn't Mina we're talking about. She might be able to just slip back away from the team. But there's enough time on this region of about a minute left to go for that final walker siege. Abrahams, though, they're showing presence like they want to fight this. I love this push, though, by Leviathan deep behind the walker, kind of cutting off the angles for reinforcements to come in here. This walker, though, has a lot of health, being the 3rd and final walker standing for the defense for Abrahams. Flight comes out from Saint, maybe looking to get into this one. Hoot steps up under the tower, positions himself to brawl. Big damage coming in. A lot of heroes for Leviathan. It's getting a little bit scary. Remember, there's only 2 rejuves. The clock's starting to run low. Billy pulls players deep. A lot of counterspells forced out. He's behind the walker, pulling attention to himself. Together is down. And Leviathan, despite dropping low on a ton of players, they lose 1. But maybe more to fall on the side of Abrahams. Fremont pops that Lycan Curse. OC swarming forward, finds that kill streak. 4 players remaining for Abrahams, and it seems like the base defense is the best they can do. Hoot, though, doesn't have a way out of this scenario. Does manage to find a kill, getting the last rejuve out of Fremont's hands, but the fact that Geist slips away here is a massive win for Leviathan. They don't give up any real kills, just using those rejuves for full value, cleaning up the map walkers wise. And with 40 seconds, they might even be able to look for more. Mina steps up, tries to get that trade onto Paige, but she's getting absolutely isolated and bursted. Still has that Dispel Magic. And it's going to be enough alongside the Ethereal Shift to get Irizumi and back off.
Yeah, the E-Shift is really, really powerful, and obviously keeping Sonya alive there. And Sonya's one next purchase, very close to, is Boundless. So Sonya is suddenly becoming dangerous. I think when you get that E-Shift online, your late game, maybe, I don't know if Sonya has a Transcendent cooldown as well, but, you know, you start to get to a point where it's very, very, very hard to kill the Mina. She's got so many escape options, but another collapse here onto Sai, talking about escape options. Surely Sai going to be trying to pop that ult here to survive, but he's going to get locked down before that's possible. And suddenly, we've got a couple big picks in favor of Abrahams. That's going to allow them to pressure the map to get this comeback earn in and start to recover some of the deficit in souls as the mid-fight rages on here, because Leviathan are not wanting to allow them to get away with this, but there's the survivability from Sanya floating away on the Mina. And oh man, just stuck on the truck is Demov.
Yeah, great stake catch there from Rayek. Getting that punish kill onto Demov is nice. But as you mentioned, hey, the comeback earn is arguably a bigger win for Abrahams. You're pretty happy that Saint is able to get that clutch save with the ult to pull Sonya out of trouble. Because you lose Sonya there, we could be looking at a base siege. But instead, Abrahams, I think they've kind of staunched the bleeding for the moment. Not many objectives to compete for on the map. So Leviathan splitting, just farming up the jungle. This is a bit of a scary moment, though, because there's always the opportunity for Abrahams to group up, go for a big play. Like, if you find the Geist and kill her, I mean, no matter how strong she is, she's not going to be able to 1v6. And so if you can create that big numbers advantage, you see how respectful OCs is of the wave. Like, he does not want to show on the wave. He wants to be very cautious, taking risks, only showing when he thinks he's fully convinced that no one's going to challenge him. Even stepping up this far is a little scary to me. Wisely reads the situation, just pushes the wave without even going for the souls. I mean, that's how worried he is about getting punished here on the side lane.
Yeah, definitely not proximus enough to collect on what he's earned there, but yeah, like pushing the lane is like more impactful even at this time than even getting the souls, especially if you calculate the risk, like you said, and on top of that too. So it makes sense. And we got 30 seconds until the mid boss comes up, and I'm curious if one of these two teams is going to try to force the mid boss, bait the mid boss, or if it's really going to be a case of trying to push lanes, look for pick into mid boss. Those are basically the only options. So, and that's the territory we're in right now. It's a huge objective. 2 minutes from the next urn. So 2 minutes here where we might see one of those fights. And yeah, I believe we're seeing Leviathan. Are they on the mid boss now? They're very grouped here in mid.
They're stepping up. They're looking for kills, trying to catch. Seems like Hoot has slipped away for now. Although, wait, hold on. He's taking damage. Somebody must be on top of him. But this deep into Abraham's territory, not exactly the place you want to fight. Hoot's going to go back to base, maybe get that reset off. Billy looking for the chain, but I don't think he finds anything. So there's actually a chance here for Abrahams to turn and make a chase.
Stab though. Freemox looking for the perfect timing here to come on through. It's got the Phantom Strike as well ready to go. There we go. Straight in there. Just the burst damage is ridiculous. Deletes Hoot entirely on the Venator, and now coming to just eat everybody else. And this is an insane start to the fight here. Abrahams are in so much trouble as Shiv tries to escape together. He's very tanky, and if he gets all the daggers maybe in, I mean, there's too many targets at this point. This is looking absolutely brutal as that Lycan Curse is just wreaking havoc on the battlefield here. And Abrahams only have 3 players up at the moment, trying desperately to survive. Sanya Sniper is about to go down, as well as Demoff. They're both critical, and that's just going to leave Saint and a mid boss for the taking for Leviathan.
Yeah, Sanya just has to run, try to slip out of this one. But with that low HP, contesting mid feels impossible. Meanwhile, waves are crashing on the base here. So it's a little bit awkward for Leviathan. Geist and Freemock, they'll feel like, hey, we can do the mid boss. But it could be a contest, actually, for Saint. With this low numbers holding it down, it's actually not so free. Sanya has gotten back to full HP, meanwhile, healing up off a camp. So this one could actually get a little bit spicy. And you see Overseas even letting the wave crash on his shrine. He's so focused on getting to the spike. He recognizes this could be the game all in one. Stonefall from Ivy looking, but the parry is good. Parry used now. It should be free for Leviathan. They grab 2 rejuves. Can they get the third cleaned up as well? Yes, they can potentially. Oh, wait, hold on. It's still not down. Wait, it gets snatched back. Hoot is back in for this one. But that's all he's going to get is a denial on the rejuve. The fight unwinnable in this scenario. Even Taz coming back in could maybe take 1 more rejuve away. And even the second one gone. So actually, this contest from Abrahams does mitigate some of the losses, but still 60 seconds with a number of players on the deck. Leviathan up. They have full map control. What do they prioritize here, Dan?
Headed to yellow.
Yeah, it's really tough. There's a comeback on actually for Abrahams that maybe Leviathan will want to try to pick that one up. In fact, they will. Irizumi is going to try to grab that, take it away from them as another fight comes through. There's Irizumi coming, or rather there's the Apollo ult coming on through just to slow them down a little bit. But I don't know, is he able to escape it? Apollo is able to basically teleport away.
That's crazy from D-Mob, making a lot of space. Can Together repeat that performance with the Shiv stamina nerfs? With the execute, it's actually a little scary for Geist. She's actually low enough where this isn't a free kill, but Silver comes in. Great read from OCs, doesn't take a risk, stays healthy with that life buff as well. And they do find that pick off onto Shiv. So they're just looking to expand the lead. They're not going to go for a base siege. I think, honestly, you got to credit D-Mob with like baiting all that attention and still escaping. That's really significant when you have all your teammates on respawn, right? Because that's time the enemy is not pushing your base. They're not taking objectives. So as good as this lead is, as strong as Leviathan are in the team fights, Abraham's still keeping themselves, I feel like, that one big team fight from getting back into the game.
Yeah, and it's the problem I think here for Abrahams too is that I don't think they have any like late game carries that can, as the game goes later, start to shift the balance. It feels like, you know, a late game Geist is just too overwhelming against what Abrahams have.
I mean, he's 46k and he is heavily invested into damage. Like, OCs, I mean, I feel like the key is that you have to somehow get on top of him and burst him down in these fights. But that's what makes Guy so good is she has that unique potential to like flip those scenarios around and turn them into really dire overextensions. So for Abrahams, a game is absolutely on an edge of a knife. And the way this has gone it's been a slog for them, right? Like this is the first map of a BO3. Whichever way this goes, we're going to continue on into the series. But momentum-wise, this has to be huge for Leviathan. Like, it's been close, but they've been in control. And so it's been Abrahams who've really been having to sweat this one constantly and have felt on the back foot, I think, through the whole match.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say. Like, right from the beginning, that they were down 3 Guardians. It took them forever to be able to get a Guardian, and it was at the cost of like 2 urns, so they could clean up the initial Guardians, just giving that for free. When is it the case that Abrahams is giving urns for free? Like that, I feel like you so rarely see something like that.
And they're just sitting on this roof, man. Like if you come out and farm these waves just an inch beyond what is acceptable, you could find yourself in a world of hurt. That being said, Geist is across the map, so they're going to TP over to the Geist and maybe look to make a play on some of these waves. Like they're very cautious of being ready to support OCs when he does step up close to the base. Definitely a mark of experience here on Leviathan. They recognize that Geist dying is the worst case scenario, right? With her being so far ahead of the game, if she dies, she's going to have a disgusting respawn. It's going to be like an 80-second respawn or something if she dies with this net worth. So I mean, OCs, you talked about him being one of the best farmers in the world, especially in Europe, and this is going to be that test of that, right? How do you play with your lead? How do you keep this one dialed? And frankly, don't give a single death. He's just, I mean, he's pretty aggressive. He's like snatching this camp away, not giving Mina any way back into the game.
Yeah, just trying to keep the spell slinger stacks up. Just constantly throwing the knives. Yeah, it's definitely pretty rough. The fact that Sanya Sniper is competitive at 47k is honestly a testament to Sanya Sniper as a player as well, given how much they've been getting absolutely battered.
Headed to green.
Now some decisions to make for Leviathan. Like most of the available jungle is on your side of the map, but do you really want to fall back and give Abrahams the space to play with? Like it feels like also a dangerous decision here in this moment. But ultimately, I think Leviathan are smart. They need to play for the buffs and the urns, right? Like that's really what forces objectives. Mid boss is not up for a little bit. Going for a base siege is kind of like the way you throw this game away. But Leech likely going to be the buy here for Geist, and I do think that is a huge power spike for her, right? We talked about it's all about can you burst her down, and she's just going to get that like yet tankier, yet harder to bring down and scale with all of her damage. Perma 10 stacks Berserker Geist is kind of insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems very. It's gonna be interesting to see if Abrahams can bring her down.
Yeah,
50k for Sanya Sniper.
She's the player to watch, right? Realistically, in this game, I mean, Sai maybe he can find some kind of an opening though. Sanya, feeling the pressure of this clock kind of ticking against them, has come out pretty far on the wave, but it seems like Sai just wants to counter push this and keep that map pressure in on Abrahams.
Yeah, pushing these waves out, clearing space. Leviathan now they want to force a fight on the comeback urn, and mid boss is spawning. It's not too far away. It's going to spawn very, very, very shortly. So these are the picks that Leviathan would look for to then convert into a free mid boss.
Could be a fight for the urn. Bosi steps up. This absolutely is going to be likely. E-shift being used by Calico. She's just zoning players away, getting that solid urn control. Are they going to really go deeper for this? Rallying charge being deployed, but does it catch anyone? Sanya low. He's low on the Ivy. Or rather, a Saint low on the Ivy, getting bursted down. Freemark chasing that one. Sanya has to back out of this fight. Scourge being put onto OCs, further increasing his tankiness. Together just cannot stand tall against this. And OCs seems to be cleaning this one up. Big shotgun sends Silver packing, and with the Lycan Curse expiring, this is literally gonna be a bit of a reset, but the swap is good from the Geist. It puts down Sanya at a very low HP. Phantom Strike forward there from Freemark, but he thinks better of that dive without the ultimate.
40k soul difference, or 47k.
Mid boss up.
This is not a good look for Abrahams. It feels like this is. I mean, they're gonna have to try to contest the mid boss, but I mean, they're 3 versus 6, so that does not feel viable at all. But at the same time, if 3 Regis go to Leviathan at this point, the game's over anyway.
Uh-oh. Mina cannot die here. She cannot get caught. And Sai does it. The most farm hero. 80 seconds on the deck for Sanya Sniper. Worst case scenario, and honestly unlucky for Sonya. He was probably convinced Calco would be in the mid, but Calco goes for a little shop and says, hey, I'll pick up an extra gift on my way to the mid boss. Hoot and Taz, no possibility of challenging for this one. And now it's really going to be dire. 50 seconds now without the carry is a lot of time to work with the Leviathan. This is the moment they should look for a patron drop.
Yeah, this feels like it's the point of no return for sure. It felt like there was always a chance for Abrahams to maybe engineer a fight that could bring them back into the game, but it does seem like this seems like too much at this point. We'll see what they can do as they try to hold the base. 30 seconds until Sanya's back. And I look at this, Leviathan cleaning up every single lane, making sure that they're going to get every single wave crashing in from all these three sides all at once as they commence their push.
Good trap from Hoot there. Keeps Sai off his back for a moment, but he still has to fall back, yielding this high ground bridge. Base Guardian's likely to fall fast here. Do they really want to step up and fight outside of the base? Back up from Hoot. He's trying to just run for the hills, get the reset back to his own throne, but it's giving a lot of space for these pushers to take. Stepping up once again, Sai is just zoning these players back, keeping the pressure off of OCs, who's staying healthy as the shrines start to drop. And Sai is just kind of fearless, soaking all the attention in that foreground. Has his ultimate, has some powerful defensive tools now on the Calco. Still 3 rejuves. Is there going to be any kind of defense? Demov out deep, caught in a dangerous scenario. Silence. The counterspell is massive, blocks about half the spells on the team there. But Demov still finds himself in a tough spot. The shots come in. One connection from OCs just hits like a truck there. And now he's looking for more. The Geist has found her moment to close out the game. She's done farming. She's leaving the jungle. One shrine standing. And only the trap's kind of holding her at bay, but no one seems poised to be able to actually challenge her.
Yeah, not too much that seems really possible at this point to do. Swap is online as well. So, I mean, even if you get her down close, you can just swap.
She's scary here. She might be low, man, but you do not want to disrespect her. Coming out deep for this kill. Sai finishes off the task here. Sonya super low now, has used the E-shift already, and it should just be game over here. Leviathan, the patron is dropping. Easy game from OCs. He was locked in this game, Dan. Like full control, masterclass carry performance. He might be deathless this game. I truly, maybe he died once in the lane. I mean, this is about as good as it gets as Leviathan take game 1 over Abrahams. Last week was not a fluke. They're here to do it again. And Abrahams have to be shook here going into game 2.
That's a rough one. It's a really rough one. They're going to have to make a lot of adjustments on the draft here, Pocket, it seems, because Abrahams, they got kind of bullied.
Monsieur Pocket.
Hey, Pocket. Pocket, you there? You there, bro?
All right.
Well, we just have to do it without Pocket then, I guess. He's not here, I think. Maybe he died of shock.
He fell asleep, let's be honest. They were kind of farming it up. They were kind of farming it up for quite a hot second there. But honestly, for Leviathan, though, this is what you want to see, right? Because I feel like it would have been so easy to come into this week feeling anxious and feeling like, because I still think you might have won last week, but Abraham, you win that many times in a row, people have to respect you. And respect was given, but Leviathan, they didn't overdo it, right? They played this slow and careful, fully measured, and it felt like unwinnable for Abrahams, right? Like there were so many moments where there was never a moment where I felt, oh, like there's a big chance here. It was like, man, Leviathan aren't giving them any ins. They're so patient. They know they have the late game security with this Geist, and playing with that confidence, they make great decisions. Most of these mid bosses were essentially uncontested. Most of the urns essentially uncontested. That speaks to the experience really on this Leviathan team.
Yeah, and it does bring about a lot of questions here for how the draft should go based on what we saw, and it makes me wonder too. Is I don't know if Mina's first pick material, and I don't think that Leviathan are going to value Mina as first pick material themselves. So it might be one of those one-sided values potentially. I'm not 100% sure there, but I'm starting to question the things that were given up. Silver was extremely oppressive in this game, and that was something that was given up. And instead of being able to get the Billy, their constellation was the Shiv, which I think Shiv is great, but in terms of the frontline utility, especially without that Kelvin in the game, Billy really carries forward a lot of value, and the pressure game from Billy is a lot better than on Shiv as a frontliner, so it creates a lot more space, and then they get the page off the back of that. So it just does seem like, especially with Ivy not really seeing the potential of the Ivy, maybe how some people might be thinking about it. Seems like there's quite a few question marks about the draft here that could, I think, really help Abrahams if they were to make some adjustments.
Yeah, like there's definitely signs of hope for them, but in the end, I mean, it doesn't get really better than this for Leviathan to come into the series and to put on a show like that on game one. Like for Abrahams now to be backs against the wall and to have no margin for error the rest of the series. I feel like Psy kind of styled on them last week, and frankly, he kind of did it again here on the Calico. Like you were talking about this, hey, Calico might have gotten tuned back, she might have gotten taken down a little bit in the strength, but she looked about as good as ever. Like still a huge choice. So many times Psy was like swinging in for these crucial cleanup kills in fights that ended up being decisive. And like the space was made. Like this is like everybody understood their role, and Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
Alicia.
That is a monster game from OCs. That's nearly the full rainbow.
Is that kind of our go-to MVP, even if they lose the match? What are we thinking here, DDK?
You gotta win to get MVP. You gotta win. If you lose from here, it doesn't matter how good game one was. It's gonna be forgotten, right? But honestly, for OCs, if he has like a decent game two, then again, though, this is a game that's like, it's clinical from OCs, but frankly, you cannot play this way without what the rest of his team is doing. Like he was pretty passive and like they played a very deep late game push. And really honestly, what's kind of more impressive for me in that style is that the rest of the team did so well with their 5-man fighting style, right? Like they stayed very comfortable. And Overseas is 0 deaths on Billy. Like think about the last game we just watched. Billy got destroyed, died for like every initiation. 0 deaths Billy is kind of crazy.
1 death as well for Fremont on the silver. Was it the silver steal? Was it the lack of a Kelvin? What hurt Abrahams most here? Because they dominated our challengers matchup, DDK.
Yeah, I think I feel like maybe the Mina pick set them behind in the draft a bit. It seemed like silver, because with Kelvin getting banned, it seemed like there wasn't an answer for a Billy and for a Silver, because I think, and also potentially for a Calico as well, because these are all heroes that can be very mobile and are very broadly frontliners. And I think that was part of the issue, is that Abrahams got overwhelmed with the broadly frontliners in such a fashion, as Jake mentioned, where not only did it allow OCs to be kind of free farming, and it allowed Ray to always be able to be in good position in the fights, but it created a scenario where the Abrahams couldn't take objective fights. So I think that was the biggest problem.
Lady Gyat is owning, says CL Ogaro. Thank you very much, OCs, for the first game in the best of 3 reminder. That's how we play it out here in the grand final. Serious money is on the line, and a big appreciation to Caleros and a few other donators. We are now up to 730. Also, more importantly, we are up to 12,000 people tuning in to Deadlock on Twitch's streams alone. Jake, why is this game picking up so much steam in the last, I guess, 6 weeks? Because we've been doing this for 2 years now.
Look, I think a lot of people are starting to see the potential and the promise that I think people even saw. Like a lot of people tried Deadlock back in the early alpha when it first went like semi-public on the alpha, had that huge spike. I think it was like 170,000 concurrent players. And look, the game was really early and rough at that. So you look back at those stages, there's a lot of gray boxes and unfinished textures, and like huge changes have occurred since then. But now that the game is getting more and more polished, we're getting some of that like trademark unique Valve art style that just can't be beat. Like they're just the best in the freaking business, man, when it comes to some of the creative that comes into these games. I think a lot more people are just seeing what some of the longtime Deadlock fans have been, cheering on this whole time. Like this is a special game. I think it's something really unique in the esports space, and I feel like it's kind of like next up, in terms of those big titles.
I think it's the Fiki eggs, whatever that means, chat. All right, that is your first game in the books. DDK, if you're looking for an Abrahams bounce back, because everyone's hoping for a game 3 here, we want to see EU as long as we can. How do they get there? Who are you watching?
Ooh, I don't know what they have to do in the draft. I shot some ideas out there, but I think it does start with the draft. They got to be more competitive on the objective game, and they can't let the front line be so insane.
Shiv, does he make it through tonight? We'll find out on the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, game 1 is in the books. Shout out to Solomon and everyone tuning in from around the world. Tell your friends we're breaking records tonight. See you in a second. Shout out to Scout Exclaim, who let us know we are no longer on daylight or Eastern Standard Time. We're on Eastern Daylight Time, okay? We're going to update our Twitch clocks. Apparently had some information wrong. He missed the EU Challenger matchup. But Jake, he's got 2 more games coming, right? There's no way this is a 2-0 in the grand final.
I mean, Leviathan just dropped a 2-0 on us last week. They took the championship in dominant form, and game one seemed to me to be a statement victory that they're just going to run it back again. There may be a new dynasty in town, Bucket.
Yeah, learning from production not to ask them to resize your head because they'll just make it go the other way. Well, that's a lot of my face. DDK, can you distract us with something worth watching?
I don't know why you're putting this onto me. I don't know. Can we let's just do the draft, man. I just want to see what happens.
There we go. I like that. I like that.
See what Abrahams do, man. I want to see what they do.
We just got some more donations on a few other platforms, so shout out to all of our YouTube viewers. Thank you, everyone here on Twitch. Shout out to everyone watching the watch parties. And thank you to everyone who tuned into ZP's first watch party by himself this last weekend. We're going to be doing more of these. He had like 4,000 viewers that you guys are just showing up to watch Deadlock every way, shape, and form. I'm trying to fill for this draft because I know it's coming, Jake, but it's not here yet.
I want to get some love to Dotline468, the super chat on YouTube. Thanks for the $100. To the matches that are actually competitive again. Look, guys, sometimes it takes time, but I feel like this is a story. Hey, we were pitching it. Maybe it was Cope at a time where we're saying, look, the longer you stay champion, the bigger that target on your back gets, the more teams are studying you, vying to surpass you, and the harder it is to stay on top. Maybe the Creeps have been beating that curse so far, but Leviathan have thrown down the gauntlet in EU. Even if they lose the series from here, it's clear that this title is no longer going to be a walkover victory for Abrahams. Like, there is a true competitor now in Leviathan, and honestly, if they win this one 2-0, we might have to update those power rankings and start really considering them the top dogs. Like, I think doing it twice in a row is where, especially after a huge patch that reshapes the game, it doesn't get more compelling than that for me, guys.
McTacos115 with the first time chat over on twitch.tv/Deadlock Night Shift. I want Lash to bang my wife. Thank you for sitting in the corner, McTacos. Yamars, though, is asking the real question. DDK, do you think Silver can reproduce while in wolf form?
As your lawyer, don't answer that. Don't answer that.
I was gonna say. I refuse to.
Next question, Puck.
Thank you. Shout out to everyone asking the weird questions in the chat. That's my job here. I will be reading them. These two will be answering all of the official stuff about Deadlock. Real talk, though, when it comes to Silver, is she OP? Because 2 weeks ago, she didn't make it into a single game. She was banned out all 7 of the 7 games. DDK, we've seen her twice out of 2 games so far.
I think Silver's still really good. I think it just depends on what you synergize with Silver, because I think that's why that last draft was so crazy, because it wasn't just Silver you had to worry about. You had to worry about Billy that's in your face, that's disrupting the fights with the chain gang. You also had to worry about Calico that can also chase after Silver is also on the chase. So there's all these, and also there's varying catch tools that they had. So I think that they just had a way to ensure that Silver would have maximum impact in those fights.
Silver first round pick 2 games in a row alongside Billy and Mina. Moa's been double banned out, and we saw a single ban for Shiv in the first game. Kelvin got banned out after the success from Abrahams going into this EU final. So looking at this screen, who do you expect to come into the mix and who gets banned out more? Does Doorman make his first appearance here, Jake?
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more Doorman. I mean, in the past, it was really used as a counter to Kelvin. Being giving like a realistic way to actually get out of the Kelvin Dome by using that Doorman door to escape, or maybe even just ult the Kelvin so he can't get his ult off when he wants to. I wouldn't be surprised if it does come up. Maybe it'll be more in NA than EU. Typically, the regions have a bit of a different take on the meta. But Dan, I think you had a great point about last game's draft, which is the Shiv, although I do think he's still good with the Spirit Knives, like doing very, very real damage, he's not as much of a frontliner as he was before, right? He's a little, from that build, you're a little bit more of like a Spirit Nuker. You're very mobile. You can escape. You can deal damage, but can you really just stand toe to toe with Billy and Silver? Last game, the answer was just no. I mean, there wasn't, you never saw it. And I don't think Together's playing wrong. I just think that's not what the hero does. And to your point, they lacked the tools to be able to take those frontal fights. And ultimately, when it came time for the farm check, man, OC's passed.
Jake, we have all agreed you can be our lawyer if we get in trouble. Sorry, DDK, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did Pocket get banned last time? Because
you guys,
ooh,
$200 from Subi Jubi. Thank you for adding to our prize pool. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you being here on the Deadlock Night Shift.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, did Pocket get banned last time? Because Pocket is actually one of the answers to like all these frontliners. Drop an affliction in there and just, GG. But But Silver
Chat
gets
was expecting
banned, so
Pocket
there
to
you
come
go.
in with the 6th pick, and instead they went with Apollo. So I think you might be onto something. Silver's gone, Billy's gone. So what does that mean for our front line? We've got Krill in the game for the first time. DDK, you said you don't think he's OP. Jake said he might be the best character right now.
They
Thoughts
tuned him
coming in
down
here?
a little bit, some of his damage, but he's still really good. Like, I think the changes they made to him in the way that his abilities scale definitely makes a big difference.
Wow.
Leviathan stealing the Mina. So Mina didn't work for Abrahams,
Okay.
but they still are making her first pick 3 games in a row, Jake.
I honestly can see the theory behind the Mina pick because I think the way Mo and Krell is now, you could be on Geist or whatever. I don't think it matters. If you're Mo ulted, you are going to die. Like, it doesn't matter how tanky you are. I think you're basically dead. So instead of going for a tanky hero that won't live anyway, you go for a Mina who is just going to play to never ever be caught by Mo and Krill. Very much easier said than done, but that is, I think, the theory with these picks is just be out of his reach, be away from him to where, okay, he's not gonna, and 2 heroes that would have comboed very well with the Mo.
Okay, this is
Kelvin's
really
still in
interesting.
here, right?
Like, Vindicta's second pick, honestly, I didn't have this read that Vindicta was this high value. And then Shiv still gets a second pick, and even though there's loads available of like very solid picks, and they get the Kelvin, and maybe that's got something to do with it.
We're going to game 3. I'm calling it now. Thank you for another 25. This is from Rick from RL. Is that Rick from Rocket League? Welcome in, dude.
It's got to be, but this is, I kind of agree with you, Bucket. This first 3 is kind of terrifying from Abrams. Love the Abrams pick. Love it, love it, love it. I think the number one thing you need versus Mo and Kerr right now is stuns. You need a way to hard stun him instantly out of the ult to save your teammates. They could look for something like a Viscus, like the cube, but Viscus took a couple nerfs. I don't know that it's that likely here. And you could always just combo the Viscus first, and then he's in real trouble. But lots of hard stuns that just instantly break the combo. It's going to be a long time until Mo builds like Unstoppable or something. It really does slow his game down. So
Is there a spike for
against
Mo?
Krill.
Like, is there a counter in terms of play style? Apollo is not going to be played, apparently.
Yeah, I guess Apollo could have been nice with the riposte is like a decent, reliable stun that breaks the Mo ult, and he can just be so evasive that it might be hard to like dome him or get on top of him with Shiv. I think I would love to see like a page here for Leviathan. Wait, they go with the Yamato, which I think this might be the first time we've seen Yamato played.
In 3 weeks.
Yeah, in a while. We were kind of talking about this in the new patch. There's a lot more sources of shred in the game, but Yamato has a natural unstoppable in her ulti, which is pretty unique in the game, right? It's one of the only characters that has that reliably from the first time you level the ulti, not gated till the ultra late game. So it is a hero that can kind of stand toe to toe with Shiv and Kelvin, but sometimes inside that Kelvin dome, it just doesn't matter what your build is and how tanky you might think you are. Like, that's a pretty tough spot to be, especially with the level of brawling that the Abrahams are continuing to draft. Celeste and Venator, monster damage now to pour into the Mo combo or the Kelvin dome.
Didi?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. So one extra thing with Yamato is I believe her power slash goes further now as well. So there's more range to it, which is interesting. But I'm curious with Abrahams because they got Rem with this like Kelvin, like Venator Celeste situation last time. I wonder if, but it kind of feels like they need damage. They need like more DPS, like just straight DPS. Because Mo, you don't get that from Mo, really Shiv, Kelvin, or Celeste. You only get it from Venator right now. And the tankiness on Leviathan with the page added in is kind of nasty. So, but also the Abrams Vindicta combo, that's pretty classic. As well as like the Shiv Kelvin combo. So really different draft from both teams.
I kind of like
When was the last time we saw Yamato? Can you guys let us know, production? Gray Talon makes his appearance as well. I feel like we saw him one game 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a lot of active ganking potential now for Abrahams. You've got the Great Talon Bird from long range getting that big stun. Then Mo gets on top of you with a combo. Kelvin domes you in. You could be very farmed in the late game, and you still might have to respect the level of global threat in this comp and their ability to kind of turn fights around. I think this is a more well-rounded draft from Abrahams. At the same time, Leviathan, I like they've gone a lot of stuns. They've got Ivy with a stone form. They've got Abrams with the charge. They've got Paige with the rallying charge, like that ultimate. And so a lot of ways to interrupt the combo. Lots of heroes who can kind of assist. Yamato, who is a little scared of Mo at times, right? Because if you just get combo before you press the ultimate, oh, that feels, you just die, right? You don't get any of your buttons off. You don't really get to tank. So it's a feast or famine frontline for sure from Leviathan. A lot of confidence in their ability to just outplay. I think Abrahams have set themselves up with a much more solid draft and a tougher test for Leviathan in game 2.
Abrams, though, chat saying that his cooldown can't keep up with Mo and Krill. Is that the big, like, 1v1 to look at? Is that not true, Jake? Am I talking to Plat chat over here? What's happening?
You can combo the Abrams, right, before he's ready, like, before he pins you, you know? But I mean in the sense that as long as you're with your teammates, there's enough stuns in the lineup where someone can stun the Mo after he uses combo and get the player who's in trouble out of dodge. And that's, I think, generally Mo's weakness. If you get stunned out of burrow, you lose all your survivability, right? You get disabled is ultimately kind of your weakness on Mo. That being said, that all predicates on the game still being close and competitive. And for Abrahams, you know, if you find somebody alone and there's no one to help them, Mo is going to eat them up alive. So I actually think Abrahams have set themselves up with a very new patch draft, but one that is kind of unique to them. I think they've looked like the best GT team. Hoot has had some of the biggest games on Great Talon of anyone that we've seen on the night shift. And so it's kind of hard to bet against them in a comp that gives them, I think, a lot more playmaking and a viability in the team fights than they had in the last map.
I think also Talon's Spirit Burst is actually going to be very, very effective against both Mina and Vindicta. As airborne targets, the Spirit nuking there is a really good way to kind of create loss of threat. Paige is also pretty immobile, and also if you catch Paige, she will just instantly die to a few of those power shots later on. So I think the Grey Talon is actually a really, really nice pick.
Piper, if your name was Grey Talon, what noise would you make? Black is right. That is correct.
Nice.
All right, we got Grey Talon ready to rock. We've unplugged my headphones, so Solomon, if you're talking to me, I'm just winging it right now. Jake, DDK, game number 2 coming your way. We got Leviathan versus Abraham, and I have to go make macaroni and cheese, I'm told. Let's get into this bad boy. Also, real quick, I got the message from Solomon for our $200 donation from Subi Jubi. They say, thanks for all you guys do. I love Night Shift, and I'm hoping for a Leviathan repeat win. Yamato last picked episode 25. Jake, does it happen here on episode 29 with a dub, a 2-0 completion?
I'm worried for him. Puckett. I got to be honest. Great to see Piper on the show. Totally lovely. Love the announcement call. If Great Talent is squawking, we'll know it's time for a game 3. We'll have to see, though, if Abrahams can actually get that much mileage out of the character. Can they get that snowball rolling, get all that spirit buff, as you were talking about, Dan, over to the GT and get him to that explosive potential that we know Hoot has?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, the impact of the getting the last hits with the birds. I think a bit more forgiving now as well. There's a longer window, I think, after connecting the ult damage to getting the reward if there is a kill that happens. I think that's
same for Vindicta's snipe, right? But a lot of these like infinite scaling tools are not as brutal. Like, you need to hit the last hit anymore. Drifter can even get it, even if he just gets the assist instead of the actual kill itself. On an isolated target. So they makes sense. I mean, some of those abilities are like a little weird to be like, you need to kill steal on Vindicta to get this scaling, or GT as well. So a little bit more team centric. But I gotta say, Dan, I like this Abrahams draft a whole lot more. That being said, Abrams took some big nerfs, got, I think, completely ignored in the first 2 games drafts, but I do think this hero was not bad. Like, he is still good. Maybe he was the best hero in the game before, and he's not quite that dominant anymore. But you got to respect the threat of the big blue man.
Yeah, you certainly do. I gotta say, I'm still not super used to the new Abrams, because obviously there's quite a few changes made to Abrams and his ultimate, as well as, I mean, I guess like the Siphon Life as well was actually kind of a buff for him, because it will work in 360 degrees, I think, around the Abrams model. So you actually will get like more lifesteal off of it. So there's definitely some improvements in that respect.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to highlight is that you have that big AoE from the first skill, or it's a little bit smaller in terms of directly forward, but the circle around you means if you try to jump on the Abrams and like swarm him while it's up, you're just all going to be feeding him a ton of lifesteal, and it could kind of go wrong. So before, if Mo comboed you and you were like looking away, you just aren't getting any lifesteal. Now you're still going to get a little bit of that health back. On top of that, the ulti, when it's maxed, has a pretty enormous AoE. So really hard to evade that stun once you get to the late game. And I think people might be put a little bit higher priority on leveling the ulti. That being said, still, it's kind of hard to compete with the charge, right? Those levels are so valuable on Abrams.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, This Mo and
Prod just
Venator
catering
lane.
to the Mo fans, man. Absolute Mo. And by the way, Mo is absolutely smoking them on this lane. I mean, he is diving the tower at 2 minutes against Abrams. And Celeste is here too. Overseas. On the Abrams this game. Pin dodge from Mo, though. And this is a tough start together. Giving him the business here on the Mo.
Yeah, it's kind of a brutal start, but it's the kind of start that they need after last game, where they were behind from literally the start of the game. They never really recovered. So get an early pick from OCs on the Mina. OCs does have a nasty Mina, so that's gonna be fun to see. We talked about Sanya Sniper doing a good job farming before in the previous game. I'm sure you're going to see OCs with a as good or better performance than that.
I will say last game, it was very much his role to play things very slow, to be that, you know, alarm that like, hey, at some point in the game, we will just win if my GT or my Geist rather gets completely out of control. But this game, I think there's a little bit more pressure to show kind of what Sanya has been doing on the Mina, which is to play tempo, to be aggressive and to make things happen. Together, by the way, got dominated in a trade there and has to go all the way back to base. I think this is pretty powerful in the lane, kind of gives a lot of room for Overseas and Irizumi to recover into this one. Taz is back yet again. 2 very early roams to this lane and not really getting any kills from them, but I guess this is the value of Celeste, right? Her mobility means you can just make it to these side lanes incredibly quickly, but finding yourself in a 1v1 with Mina in the open may not be the fight you want.
Yeah, definitely not. And who's definitely going to be susceptible for sure. You can see him trying to block the line of sight as best as possible.
Clean moves from Hood there. Just dodges all the damage. No love bite proc from the Mina. Kind of stylish, and Taz comes back in to kind of send her back.
And that's very impactful too. You know, your health as a resource on the lane is so important because it just, if you can get the opponent's health down, all they can do is stand at the tower, so they can't apply any pressure onto the lane. Suddenly, you can get all the boxes you want. You can get, like start like raiding their creep camps and stuff like that. You can get, you know, the ability to kind of gank other lanes, and it's a bit more unknown. So just keeping that health resource up allows you to also push when there's opportunities. So really important.
Big trade coming in. Shiv, Calvin in a lane that we came to know and fear could be back this patch as some potential tower dives coming in here. Only 1 knife on the Yamato. But there's also rotation in Taz. He's just in every single fight right now on the Celeste. Yamato getting this heal behind tower, the extra health. Working overtime to keep him up into this one. I mean, I gotta say, like, despite all the ganks Taz is going for, Hood is kind of holding it down in the mid lane. He's not really falling behind at all because of being solo in this lane. In fact, he's getting a lot of souls and not being punished for it. So the birds, I mean, first one has already flown. I didn't even see that one. And now further availability of that global gank. Every time that GT bird is up, you can expect somewhere on the map, somebody's going to get active.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It's always fun to see how like the bird can assist the ganks and so on. Who's going to be counting on that? You know, we saw I think one of his last games. He managed to get like plus 50 or something spirit on the bird in the first 10 minutes. So that's pretty extreme. But we'll see if he, you know, what he's able to do in this game.
Chat wants to know.
Oh, yeah.
Is there an easy way to check in on the eggs? There's a lot of egg talk here, boys.
Like, I don't think anyone's buying the egg, chat. You guys are crazy. I don't think anyone has a goose egg. Maybe we could check a quick tab. I gotta say, the egg item is a troll item. I don't think it's actually good in competitive play. It gives up a lot of early damage. We'll see if I'm wrong. If anyone is buying, I think maybe the Kelvin bought it in game 1. I think maybe we've only seen one on the night as nice little kill picked up by Taz, but ultimately it's Hoot who does the lion's share of the damage.
Oh, there's an egg. Yeah, Saint's got it.
Okay.
Oh, we got a Fiki egg.
Fucking doesn't know what that means, guys. I don't know what it means either, but just...
Same.
So they did buff this item today, right? In that most recent patch, giving a little bit more souls per minute. Kind of makes sense on Kelvin, and he is, to be fair, still winning the lane despite big combo. First combo of the game. It's on to Abrams, but he is tanking that no problem. And actually, the fight seems to turn around the other way. Rallying charge, catches Mo, denies him from escaping from this one. Do they have the catches to come in? A big heavy does connect, but I don't know if you have the life to get out of that. Sanya, big damage on him. And the ulti comes slamming in from overhead. Overseas picks up that kill. Together, overplaying the hand, really. I mean, Mo is better, but you can't just dive under tower and ult the full HP Abrams behind Page.
Yeah, that's a bit bold. Izumi very low on that page, though. Yeah, right now, I mean, it's a way better start for the Abraham side. Like, it's just night and day difference. Looking way more active and able to kind of assert themselves. Like, pressure like that, you know, they're forcing the Abrams back off the cab. And that Guardian is gonna go down right now, I think. There we go. It gets taken out, and now the cover here for the Abrams for Overseas is now gone. So gotta be pretty careful. But there's lots of work to do. Hyperline.
Yeah, it gets a little zip knock.
It's a little
slow down the pace there from the, I believe that was Together's bow. I'm not sure at that range, but it's nice. But an early game that has already gone drastically better than game ones for Abrahams. Like, they are very much into this game with a pretty significant advantage. The bird comes in, slams down a Mendek. There's 3 shift knives in her. She's bleeding out. Ticking down into this one. The dome comes out from Kelvin to sustain Saint. Are you gonna be able to even find a punish kill? Yamato rips the ulti. Should be able to find a kill on this Kelvin. Shiv, though, wants to punish, and the longer this takes, the worse it gets. Fremont, though, gets that one done pretty quick. Still has the health. Should be okay in this one, especially with Shiv being quite low on the daggers. Maybe a little bit more damage to be put in. A little bit of disrespect being deployed here from Demov. And I think diving the wall or the tower is just a little bit too much considering Fremont's health total.
I think one of the changes I also saw for Shiv was I think they increased the knockback of the shotgun a little bit more on the right click.
Oh, no way. From downtown, man. Fremont just did not see that coming. The shotgun boost, yet more crucial. Despite the 2 stam nerf, man, like, if you have sick movement on the shotgun burst, they made that more crucial, I think, on the character. But some of these top players, they were relying on that way more than their stamina anyway.
Yeah. And I think they increased the, I think they increased it from 12 meters to 18 meters or something for the Shiv, like, execute to make the killing blows a little bit easier to land. So that wouldn't have been possible without today's patch as well, I think.
It's a good point. That swarming dive forward. Kelvin does not have dome, just running back from this one, recognizing that this many players coming in, it's just not a defendable tower. Looks like maybe some contest happening in the mid where still a very healthy Guardian up for Leviathan, kind of keeping them on the map here and active. As Taz once again rotating now, he's on the Mina from behind there in the left lane. Seems like more action here taking place elsewhere. Some shots coming in from Venator, but yeah, it's not enough. Mina, I mean, Mina's just happy to take a failed gank and get out of there without taking damage. Like, that's doing her job very well. She has to pop the ulti to scare Celeste off, but very worthy trade for someone who's mostly focused on farming, right? And to take a 2-for-1 gank and to come out the other side unscathed and keep up the farm rate, very nice.
There's the lift coming through onto this left side to gank on top of the double sinners. Really nice, nice gank bringing in the Abrams. That's honestly kind of terrifying.
Tactical nuke coming in. Neither team wants to make a mistake, though. I mean, the game virtually even right now. The Urn pickup, the first meaningful objective to really contest here. Looks like Abraham's a little more dominant in the area. Low coming in with combo online. It's going to be a tough one to contest. Seems like Leviathan are going to just yield this first Urn pickup 2 together. Are they going to contest the drop-off, though? There's a Yamato in deep behind. Fremont actually wants to fight this one out. Urn dropped over to Celeste, though, who's probably the best Urn carrier in the game with her natural movements. Hold on, though. Big connection. That's going to drop the Urn. Yamato denies that one away. Is there going to be a combo deployed? Not just yet from Together. Waiting it out for now, trying to get a little bit more damage on Yamato first. Maybe looks for Paige. Oh, sick parry from Paige. And now, Together finds himself in a world of trouble. The burrow, though, might be enough to get him out.
Yeah, still looking to get aggressive here as well onto the page, and now the shift comes into the picture, and suddenly this page is mega dead. I don't know how you're going to possibly survive this. Looking to try to get the combo out there. Boom.
The chat spamming Moan Krill. They want blood, and they'll get it this time. Demov gets the finish. More kills for the Shiv. 5 streak for Demov. Has been one of the best Shiv players in the world in the past. Sonya finds OCs, and everything's starting to crumble right now for Leviathan. Abraham's winning across the map in a lot of these trades. Looks like a desperation dive from Ivy to maybe go for the Guardian, but he's just getting smoked.
And you can kind of see why the Kelvin ban came in, I think, because the goose egg makes sense on, or the egg makes sense on Kelvin, just because also like the damage isn't the point of Kelvin really. Like, you know, he's healing, he's slowing, he's able to move quickly. He drops the domes, and so the supportive element, I think, is where all the value is. So I say, you know, it checks out for him at least.
Yeah, I do think this is where the item shines, right? Is on these like very heavy supports that are really going to build to enable teammates rather than focusing on their own game or their own individual plays. The fact that Kelvin has been so active this game despite holding the egg does make it look like a pretty compelling choice for this build. Together showing threat now on the side lane, just controlling a lot of this area of the map for Shiv. A counter kill though onto Sonya will be exactly what the Doctor ordered in this game. He pops the Iridomini, trying to turn this one around and get some big punches in, but just can't quite find it. Ozys finishes him off before the pure hit does come in onto Psy. GT is slamming. Oh my god, arrow after arrow into Ozys, drops him down. We're starting to see some of the potential here. Only 10 spirit from the bird stack, so not a ridiculous exponential scaling game here for the GT, but picking up a mid guardian would be a quite nice little reward here for the great talent to continue playing tempo.
Yeah, solid pickup there onto that mid guardian, and still left guardian up for the Abraham's side. So they're in a really good spot now to kind of start pushing all the lanes, trying to be a bit more oppressive.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
That was a little greedy. He stayed on the zip way too long, but Together it's going to bail him out of trouble. And a bird could set up a counter kill here. Together drops the combo, setting up a free hit now onto Fremont, who gets pulled by the Ivy, who's not quite able to finish the job. Fremont pops the ultimate, but he's just on a sliver of HP. Surely he can't play his way back into this. Getting that heal coming in. Wait, the rallying charge buffs him up yet more. But inside the dome, he just runs out of gas.
oh my god, that's great. that hyperline onto who was almost... I mean, that was like, that backfired so much, it seems. They did at least like get all the ults out, I suppose, from Abraham's. Although I think that most of them should be able to come back by the time the urn is up, but still.
At this stage in the game, though, a couple kills, you're really happy to get that kind of a trade. Mina getting active. I think Ozys is recognizing this is not a game he can play passively. He needs to start turning around their fortunes in the here and now. There's a Mo and Krill deep in enemy territory, but he's just teeping away. He's kind of just playing with them on the Mo Krill. And by the way, a couple times off camp, Demov has just solo killed overseas. So while Shiv might not be the most dominant pure frontliner anymore, Abrahams with all these nerfs has shown that he just can't survive the damage in a 1v1. I mean, Decay plus these knives, fully maxed now. Super threatening from Shiv.
Yeah, 15k ahead is pretty sizable at this point in the game, especially when even on objectives. So this is definitely looking like it has the makings of a three mapper here, unless Leviathan can kind of come online in some respect, but not finding the value as they did in the early game, it just really makes the complexion of the match is so different in that because of that. And you know, Vindicta's really far behind, for example. That's something that they were not struggling with in the previous map either.
This game feels so difficult right now. It's like to play from behind against a huge Mo and Krill is just so hard. Like, it's so easy to just bleed kill after kill to Mo and his ganks, especially with Kelvin behind, where typically against the Mo, I feel like you want to try and have a big team fight where you can protect each other from combo, but the Kelvin Dome plays exactly into that. The bird, the heat-seeking missile there has found its target, stuns Abrams and the Ivy to mitigate some of their initiation, but I think Sonya may still be going down here. Got caught off by big numbers just playing off the shield, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, he's juking and trying to make this kill take as long as possible, but still 40 seconds on the clock provides an opportunity here for Leviathan to work with. Still, the damage is still pouring in. Abrahams want to double down. They want to win this fight, get a punish for losing their carry. They will find Rayek from Together comboing in the backline. Mina's think sensing, maybe I can kill the Shiv, but so far clean movement with these shotgun bursts from Demov gets him out of trouble.
Yeah, man, Demov is so tanky. I mean, Ozys is the most farmed player on the team and was pumping him with shots, and like, I didn't really feel like his health bar was moving very quickly at all. That's worrying. That's very worrying. And is collected for Abrahams again, and it's a comeback earn, and honestly, they're going to be in a pretty decent spot to turn this one in, especially on Celeste. She can just, we'll jump into this. And then comes the bird from the back.
Coming in. Oh, and a stun on the Ivy. Air-to-air missile, but hold on, they dropped the urn. It's not free. Damage comes in. Celeste already down. Doesn't even get much damage off. Kelvin Dome denies the urn drop, but seems like the rest of Leviathan are fighting into this. They're up 6v5 here. This could be a decent fight for them. Rayek over the top as well, pumping in damage, but so healthy are the rest of the Abraham's members. Shiv swarms forward, gets that execution now onto Fremont, and things are looking dire. The melee's coming in, making sure that no one can steal this urn away. Wait, Vindicta can almost get the pickup. Parry attempted, but it doesn't work this time. Another pin comes in. Together finally goes down. Ozys getting active now on the Mina. And in the desperate scenario, Leviathan seem to have snatched this fight away. If they get the earn finish here and yet more kills for OCs, they could be back into this game. Abrahams, they don't want to let it happen. The second GT bird of the fight coming in. D-Mob looking for kills. A big catch though. The shotgun from Sonya connects against the full stun. And now the earn still in contest. Abraham's continuing to double down on this engagement. Will they be ultimately successful? Fremont is back and he wants to tangle, going for the dunk, but the earn is snatched away. Shiv bleeding out now. Needs to somehow get away, but the wall stun is good. Abrams, Fremont, swarming forward, just continuing. No one is going to be allowed to do this earn. Leviathan still, it's 2v4 now. The player advantage started to turn against them. Hoot surely is going to get the melee and does deny. And Sonya still full health. The ultimate rip, they're going to keep doubling this down. I mean, there's only 15 seconds on the respawn for some of these players. Could be more attempts coming in on this one, but Fremont starting to run out of gas. Sonya still healthy, still dominating, and finally the dunk does come in from Hoot.
Oh my god.
An incredibly hard fought and extended engagement. And a combo on OCs, hold on. It's somehow still not over, Dan.
Yeah, and I'm not super convinced who came out on top here, to be honest. Even though the earn went in for Abrahams, they obviously lost a few players on that battle, and so for Leviathan, it feels like it wasn't too bad. Obviously, they're still 20k behind, so that kind of sucks. But that was kind of crazy. I think that's the biggest like hot potato battle I've ever seen of in terms of the earn.
Yeah, like honestly, for Leviathan, really well executed. Like that is inches from being a full comeback type of team fight. Like if you get the earn and you win that fight more decisively, I think you're right back in the neutral. But in the end, the dunk is so valuable to be done on the opponent's side of the map. But it does still show there's fight left in Leviathan. They're not giving up on this game. They're going to make Abrahams work for every inch. Abrahams need to keep this one clean. Like Taz kind of went in first there and just got instant bursted. Feels like that really shouldn't be happening in these team fights, or is kind of the worst case scenario considering how much of a glass cannon the Celeste is.
We dispel magic on the Mo. Yeah, this Mo is a little bit scary right now. Sonya Sniper in the meantime he's farmed up to 25k, so Sonya Sniper is going to be actually quite a problem.
Yeah, Venator, pretty big issue considering like Abrams, Yamato, these are heroes that want to get in and fight in the front line. They're 10k down on the Venator, so trying to get on top of him may not be the fight you actually want. Shiv getting initiated on. The stake is good. So many control abilities coming in. Calvin doing his best to pump the heals. They do have the dome. If you dive a little bit too deep for the Shiv, you could find yourself in trouble, and they've done just that. Hold on, the rallying charge comes in to break the combo through the dome. But Mina caught in alone, using the Sanguine, has to just outplay, has to live just a few more seconds. The rest of the team coming into support. OCs may actually be out of the woods for now, but Fremont dies in his stead. And if you end up getting any more kills here, this is disastrous. Remember, mid-boss, the real value of the contest, but Mina lives, but not only that, but holding a bag too. Like, that could have been the game if OCs dies right there. Instead, you're still on the precipice of defeat. Leviathan need to find their moment to come back into this. It doesn't seem like it's going to be now, man. Paige getting run down. Dodges one arrow. And GT's out of shots, but in the end, it's just too little too late for Irizumi.
Okay, might be in some trouble. I don't know. Actually, Ray is so underfarmed. Same with Irizumi on the page. I guess a little bit more expected, but a 13k Vindicta is a non-issue at this point. 13k. Sonya Sniper has double the amount of souls there, and it's another comeback unturned in. So it's so interesting how this is like the reverse of what happened to Abrahams, but like Abrahams are now doing it to their opponents, Leviathan, even more dominatingly than they were dominated in the first match.
I gotta say, great point from the chat. Can we check in on Saint's Egg? We need a status report. If he's still, I mean, last time we saw him, I think he held it until he could sell it for refresher when it was like 3,000 plus souls. This is getting scary. Like if he holds this another, few minutes, like pretty soon it's just a refresher, right, in your pocket, which is kind of insane considering you're already in this kind of an advantage. 2,000 souls, tons of permanent buffs as well to make you extra tanky. Hold on, a catch in the mid lane, but going on it together, that's kind of your hardest target in this one. Leviathan, they're committing heavily. The rescue beam though ensures together is going to be just fine. He looks to reset out of this one. But the rest of the team maybe throwing good money after bad. Dome used purely defensively. Someone's inside of that. a combo though onto Mina, but in the air, where's the damage fall? GT is doing enough, and oh, just a second before the combo ends, who finishes off OCs? That's your most farm hero hitting the deck. Damage problem is going to be very real right now as Abrahams want to get a massive cleanup that opens up the game for them. Dimov, is he going to bleed out? It's very close on this Shiv. Oh, but that's brutal for Leviathan. I think Dimov is safely back to base.
This is crazy. I mean, that dome coming in to block the Nox Nostra really, I think, says it all. Just there's no way to kill these people. Like, it's so hard to kill them. Again, it feels like Kelvin maybe is going to be first ban territory again.
Yeah, I think that's really the story of this game. Is like Saint dominates his lane alongside Shiv, and then you just feel like you can't team fight into the Kelvin. I think Mo is another huge problem, letting both of these heroes through. Might have been a mistake here. I mean, and Yamato fighting on the high ground, caught, and they just get the reju before Hook goes down, so he's able to get the respawn. Oh, that's so painful. You would have loved to have him on the deck. Yeah, you do take one reju away, but ultimately, this walker down should just be mincemeat. Leviathan, are you really going to defend 5v6 into double reju? Such a tall order. Maybe they go for it anyway. I mean, it's a desperate scenario.
So we go the push onto the walker, and I mean, this could be a very fast one here. The damage is so out of control, and I also feel like, you know, when it's like a Hoots, I mean a GT that's, I guess, played by Hoots, the burst spirit damage, there's just no way when you don't have any farm to even have the resistances to even begin to deal with that, and just like 2 arrows in you, and that's like you're already back. You have to go back to base, and so I don't know how they can even mount a defense here.
Yeah, I feel like you just get, I mean, we saw it, like Mina got comboed, and like the only follow-up was 2 arrows from GT, and that was enough for the full burst kill from full HP. And even it was a combo like in the air that wasn't ideal, it wasn't like a clean setup for damage, and it's still good enough. So, I mean, somebody's just dying to the combo. If that happens, you're so far behind, and you take another 25k off the net worth, and now we're talking, you're more or less doubling them on Abrahams in terms of the real power you have in the fight. Sonya, 35k this game, 36 now. So disgusting performance on the Venator. Maybe deathless right now. Maybe he's died like, I think he died once, maybe twice, but huge performance from him on the farm. He's absolutely massive. GT Birds patrolling the skies. A big gank though on this left side lane where Abrahams are actually quite split. All 6 players from Leviathan pouring into this one. This could actually be a chance to punish. You might be pretty strong on the Mo Krill. They do get the burst on the Ray Egg, but the numbers advantage is absolutely massive. You see that scoring onto absolute everyone from together, but still 1 rejuve left. Sonya, is he going to be down for the second time? The Kelvin Dome keeps him up, keeps him stable. The rallying charge comes through, but the Kelvin Dome healing is absurd. Getting the front line back up to absolutely full HP. The parry onto the Shiv. Not much of a victory here as Leviathan dropping everyone to the deck. It looks so good for that second finish onto Sonya, but then Saint comes in like an absolute ton of bricks. The Dome comes in, and he's even popped the refresher. Already has another one, should he need it for the next team fight.
They're 60k ahead. I mean, it's actually disgusting right now how far ahead Abrahams are. They played this game super well, and we talked about how important the compositions were, and I think we're kind of really seeing that play out here, because obviously we're in a new meta, you know, teams are figuring it out, but there's been a clear success. There's clear successes and clear failures, I think, when it comes to that. So we're going to see both shrines get taken out here for, you know, there's no harassment that's even possible.
Oh, they only go for 1. They're not risking it at all. They're playing very safe. I actually kind of like this play. The second one is very tanky now. Would have been risky. You're running Urn at the same time. No reason to take that kind of a gamble, because now you just can re-siege again if you want. You can also kind of force Leviathan to, you kind of give them their own taste of their own medicine, like make them sit in this kind of brutal deficit where you just feel like there's nothing you can do, and bask in it, enjoy it, because we're going to a game 3 the way this one looks right now.
Yeah, and you also get souls from the shrines now too, so it's more of a, I don't know if that's needed, but they added that in.
I mean, you get a lot of benefits for knocking 1 shrine. 2 waves of super creeps. The super creeps are stronger than they were before, and Shiv is just diving the base right now. I don't know about this play, but he's in, man. He's absolutely disrespected. They're just going to go grab the second shrine as well. They read that Leviathan, we're going to go out and take a risk here, but I mean, this is a nice pin into the curse from the shrine. Wait, insane initiation from overseas. This last rejuve is just about to end. The Mo combo still comes down though, and the stat check is just too real, man. Leviathan,
Yeah.
that's like the dream start to a fight, and Deadlock is crouch standing him. Nice little pin cancel from overseas. It's gonna get him back to base, but that's kind of the only reward you're getting into this one. Saint has used the dome. He's on a sliver of HP. Kelvin could be dying here, and yeah, OCs does get that kill. Still a mountain to be climbed here as Sonya executes OCs with extreme prejudice. The pin comes in. Demov, he's gonna bleed out pretty hard from his passive, but the punish is just too brutal, man. Sonya, server admin mode right now. Patron drop coming in. I think you can make up defense here for Leviathan, though, and I suspect the Abrams are gonna respect it. Play for that next key objective timing. Overseas wants to fight anyway, and he's dead. He's gone. That's an Abrams. If you missed it, I don't blame you. And this one looks over. Yeah, Fremont's gonna go send it too. I mean, at this point, it is just kind of all in for the death. Ult pop very defensively. He's just gonna dive forward with it. Try to use everything on the Hoot to bring him down, but it's just not realistic at this point in the game.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do against the Kelvin domes. Do seem to be so insanely impactful. Obviously, Saint's really good on the Kelvin. He's got great dome timing, but every fight that of recent memory that Leviathan are like, okay, we can take a fight here. Then the Kelvin dome comes in, and it seems like the worst fight of all time because it's impossible to kill anyone. So I yes, fully expect Kelvin to be mega super banned in the next draft as we see the conclusion of map 2, which is after being dominated. It's a statement win. Abrahams were even more dominating of their opponents to force it to a third map.
Yeah, that's a big one. One that they really needed, right? Because you think about it, the last 3 maps they played against Leviathan, they've lost. So to be able to bring this one back and do it in style with a comp where, yeah, Hoot's on the signature, great talent. They get their hands on the Mo, which, I mean, it looks pretty insane this patch. And a much better showing for Shiv. I think a comp that really let Shiv shine in the amount of damage he could get. Like in the early game, he was solo killing Abrams over and over and over again. Just too much damage for Abrams to sustain through. Vindicta just couldn't get off the ground. You called it in the early game, right? Like the power of GT to knock her out of the air, to finish her off with some of those charge shots felt very significant. I mean, we just didn't feel the impact from Vindicta this game at all, frankly.
DDK, it was a one-sided affair in game 1. Elysium, aka OC's looking like he was going to earn the MVP. Who is now in the running from the Abrams side? Abraham,
I mean, you could say it's tough. Between Sanya, Demov, and say I almost feel like Saint because of how impactful the Kelvin was. Like the Kelvin was the pillar of the entire team in terms of like getting those key domes in time that allowed Demov to just absolutely crush. So I probably would say Saint.
Jake, did the Fiki egg have any impact?
I mean, it was decent this game. I mean, this is the value of the character that, yeah, like we talked about, mostly is about the slows, and the healing you can do is not as important that you actually deal your own damage, even in the laning phase, especially laning with Shiv, who's got more than enough damage of his own. So it got you the refresher online a little earlier. To be honest, I don't really think it mattered this game. Like, I don't think it would have moved the needle at all. But you know what?
The meme has no impact.
I'm happy for the egg enjoyers. You know what? I'm going to let them have their fun.
Yeah, we used to have Viper pregnancy enjoyers. I'm much more comfortable around egg enjoyers for some reason.
Yeah,
I'm also a huge Gray Talon enjoyer. So is my daughter after watching some of these plays. He was shutting down the Vindicta out of the sky, converting some kills of his own. Is GT going to be back in play? We see him about once a night shift, it seems, in the most recent weeks.
I think GT was, he was the 6th pick. I think he is still a strong hero, but I think he's in the situational territory. And I think with the squishy heroes on Leviathan, inclusive of these airborne ones as well, like the Vindicta, like the Page, and also the who am I missing here? There was one more. I don't know who it was.
Vindicta, Page. I blacked out. I saw that we just got a raid and I blacked out. We got back-to-back raids. Thank you, Zero. Thank you, Duck. All of the Deadlock streamers coming in to check out our EU final now that it's going to a game 3. DDK, are we going to see Abrahams return to their throne? Or do you think Leviathan, last week's champ, could go 2 for 2?
Oh, it's Ivy. Yeah, I think Abrahams will probably win. But I think we're kind of going into what should be the best map, obviously, because both teams kind of are like feeling each other out, feeling out the drafts. And I think Kelvin's going to get banned. And I think also the lesson was learned for not allowing Leviathan to just like load up on the front liners like they did in that map 1 loss from Abraham's perspective. So I think we'll be going into like a really awesome third map.
Final question for you, Jake. Together was not on the Shiv. They put Demov on that as Together took the Mo and Krill. That caught some people off guard. Is there a reason? Because Together is known as one of the best Shivs of all time.
I mean, I think Demov is like right there with him in terms of skill on the Shiv. And so it's more about who's got the experience on the Mo. That I don't think we've seen either of these players really play Mo before. So maybe Together, you know, felt a little bit more confident in that pick. I also think Demov likes to play a little bit more of the scaling, and even though Mo in this patch does more damage, he's still ultimately not really going to be a primary scaling character. Although he did have more souls in this game than Demov in saying that. So I think either of these players can handle it. You have an embarrassment of riches really on Abraham's as far as their ability to flex. I do think though Leviathan, if they can just get a better draft, I think that's ultimately where they lost this one. Like letting the Mo through, I think was an oversight, and then they had to react really hard in the draft to try to deal with it. And it just felt like it kind of pulled them in every direction. They still had those moments, like thinking about that crazy Urn fight, that like they could have just barely gotten back into the game. It wasn't as one-sided as it might have appeared from the stats. But nonetheless, to even be in that situation in the first place shows how well Abraham's kind of dominated given this draft. So maybe with the fresh look, Leviathan can bring this one back and secure a defense of the title. But Abraham's going to make him work for it here in Game 3.
With that huge raid coming in from Vegas, we are now over 14,000 viewers on twitch.tv/Deadlock Night Shift across all of our view parties. And of course, we are live with over 3,500 on YouTube. It keeps growing. It keeps getting better. And so do the games on the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, lock in. We're going the distance here in EU. Get ready to slap some hams. At least that's what Leviathan is trying to tell each other as we get into game number 3. We got Jake and DDK on the mic. Jake, why are so many people excited about this matchup?
Look, I mean, it's been a long time since we've had real competition here in EU. People fondly look back at the Buff Enjoyers era when Abraham's was going blow for blow and had a real title contender, and it seems that that's back. I mean, we're 1-1, looking for Leviathan the chance to defend the title and repeat. Both games relatively one-sided, though, to each of their victors. And so now Game 3, we talked about this, they've both seen some of the strengths of each other. They can both make some adaptations. Where do we go in Game 3? And honestly, the draft so critical here. I think Leviathan got a bit outdrafted last game. And to be honest, I think they need to not let that happen again. If that happens again, this one's just going to be over and done with. You cannot let a team like Abraham's get an advantage like that on you.
GDK, which talent member or production member do you think was most likely hatched from a Fiki egg?
Let me think.
Are we not all saying Jason? Yeah, I'm going Reptile on that one.
I feel like I'm 3 for 3 of like fucking RCV questions. I have no idea how to respond.
Well, Brinks you says I fucking love Deadlock, so we'll keep it rolling here with the Deadlock discussion. A lot of new characters, a lot of new tweaks, a lot of updates in the patches. 4 of them were left untouched. Do we see any of the OG characters making a return? The guys that we're seen as not needing tweaks.
I mean, GT didn't get touched, right? I think GT is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think still like a bit of a specialty pick. Like you want him in the right scenario, not in every scenario. But Hoot's showing that, hey, even without like a crazy, last hit Spirit Snowball really getting going, he can still put out massive damage, still gave Mina huge trouble. And I think you called it well earlier in the series, Dan. I think this first pick Mina, not a fan. I think you could get the Mina,
not the move.
But to take it first, it gives up so much position, and there's a lot of very strong heroes in this patch that you really have to respect.
We have 3. So
I was just saying, I think to add to your point there too, you said something earlier, which is like, you can fit Mina into anything, which kind of makes sense that you could open up with it and still have an open field. But at the same time, it seems like both teams are playing better when they can start to define their draft earlier.
Does Holiday need a buff? Yoshi's in the chat. We know he's lurking.
Honestly,
think so.
Probably. I think maybe. I mean, the fact that like Abraham's, I think, has gone no pick hero. I mean, the one game they took a pick hero in Paradox, they lost. So in fairness, there was a long time where the pick heroes were turbo busted and like you always needed them. But now the pick heroes kind of feel untouched. Maybe Mo and Krill, I guess, sort of a pick hero, but he's a bit of a different category. And Leviathan's look, we're not messing with Saints Domes anymore. And I think this is a wise pick. Since their first pick, they could also snap up the Mo and Krill if Abraham's don't ban it. So Abraham's kind of in a rough scenario here. Do you give up like Silver or Billy, or do you, I think you just have to ban them up.
Fun fact, Abrahams have not won without Kelvin in their roster today.
True. Kelvin Enjoyers in a big way. I like that they take away the Mo, because now for Leviathan, it's like you take Billy or Silver, and Abrahams get to respond with the other of the two, +1, and kind of set their draft in the right momentum. Leviathan says Silver's the most important.
So maybe I think maybe Pocket could come in for Abrahams if we start to see like the Calico, the Silver, these kinds of chase heroes. I wonder if we'll see a Pocket. But I'm curious, does Pocket, if you use Affliction on Silver when she's in Lycan form or before Lycan form, when she does a transformation, does it purge?
It doesn't purge, to my understanding. Okay. I don't think it would. I think and Pocket, the ulti max now means you do not heal. It blocks all healing for the duration of the ulti, which should in theory be really good against the Silver. But I'm surprised with the fact that we haven't seen any Pocket yet. Makes me think maybe players just think, look, it's just not the right hero for the moment. And in fairness, it's like, I guess that people getting like things like Celeste and Apollo as those frontline spirit nukers, highly mobile characters. Maybe they feel like those are just better options. And like Celeste is no longer really being banned, so she's getting through a lot of these drafts.
DDK, people are asking if you're using a filter. If not, what is your skincare regimen? Because all of us guys are trying to look like you. In fact, somebody said that you mogged me, which I did not know the meaning of until I talked to a Zoomer. Apparently, mogging means you're taking all of the limelight, all of the aura is being soaked up by the guy in the middle. Shiv is not landing on Abraham's side. Is this a problem, DDK?
I mean, Shiv is really good. I don't know that it's a problem necessarily. I think it just depends on how Abraham's going to round out their comp here. I mean, one of the counters to Shiv was Pocket before. I don't know. Like you said, Jake, we're getting Celeste. That might be something that comes in place of a Pocket. So I guess we'll have to see if that still ends up being as disruptive in these team fights with the blinding lights against the Shiv. I don't know what the best way is to play against Shiv currently.
Jake, do you know the lore on Celeste? Is she a unicorn?
I believe so. I believe she's a unicorn.
Centaur?
I'm not that deep, but I believe she's a unicorn. For real
hooves or
unicorn,
not?
A magical unicorn. Don't know. In fact, I don't want
rear hooves. Rear
want to know.
All right, we're just gonna side with half
like crazy.
All right, here's some more picks coming in. We got Celeste. The bans are through. So Ven is not in. Paige is gone as well. So with the Kelvin ban, the Paige ban, is this just a support-free game? What are they trying to build towards?
Yeah, supports are getting kind of massacred here. Abraham's grabbed the Ivy for that category for themselves. I wonder if there's an interest in something like a Rem for Leviathan. I mean, they might want a frontline support who like the sleep could be a nice setup. I think they're lacking a bit of lockdown so far in the draft. And so I don't love the Rem sleep as a knockdown ability because it's so easily countered by counterspell. However, it does give you a lot of spirit resistance across the entire character and some, burst healing at low HP. That being said, Dan, I kind of think now maybe the Pocket is too weird to fit, but so much of Rem's kit is healing. Pocket Max Affliction completely counters that. So there could be an argument here to bring it out despite already having the Celeste.
Yeah, and I mean, Rem I like as well with the Shiv because of the Echo Shot. If you get the Echo Shot heal online, it's the best heal in the game that's possible, and that does seem kind of nice, given that there's no Kelvin or really any other ways to like keep Shiv up and keep him as oppressive. And also the displacement from the pillows as well, I think can be kind of nice for the chase, even though it's not an ice beam. But Apollo to come in as well, so you've got again, I think from Leviathan this comp that can run at you, and Abraham's they got to have a good defense against that. Yamato coming in,
interesting. I feel like they do have enough lockdown to maybe set up like Vindicta and Billy. The pull-ins on the team fight are going to be very strong. And I think there's going to be a real challenge right now for Silver, Shiv, and Apollo to kind of stick on their targets. And Leviathan goes Sinclair.
What are they copying? Normally I see Sinclair because they're trying to copy
honestly,
someone's ultimate, right?
Probably
just for
the Billy ult
noobs
here.
out there.
I think you for the most part want the Billy ult because what you're really lacking is lockdown. And Sinclair has a disgusting combo where you Billy ult people into the Rabbit Hex, which is kind of terrifying. It's a ton of CC and lockdown. However, it's very easy to just die while you're going for this on Sinclair. Like it's so much easier said than done. Maybe a stolen Wraith ult could be kind of nice in spots. Stolen Yamato ult is always kind of a little bit of a funny meme for like resetting your cooldowns and being basically unkillable for a little bit on Sinclair while you cast the rest of your skills. Kind of nice in the mid-boss pit, but I don't think we've seen any Sinclair so far this patch, so who knows, I guess, how this is going to go, but it seems like they do have a support Rem, so maybe Sinclair actually gets a decent amount of farm this game.
And when did the last Yamato win come in? Because she was played on episode 25.
I think
it's even further back. So Abrahams, you might have cursed yourself unless you know something I don't.
I'm going for the blinding light steals, Jake.
Okay.
On the Sinclair. I'm gonna steal
I don't mind it. It could be a lot of damage, right?
The nuking that's possible in Sinclair is ridiculous. Like, Sinclair can get really fat nukes, so although this is a pretty mobile lineup ultimately, so I don't know, it's going to be very interesting. But the Sinclair is also very good at split pushing. I think Sinclair with Rem, I think is kind of interesting from a macro point of view, what you're able to do, and also, like you're saying, the CC that's possible in some of the objectives. It could also be very, very oppressive and annoying to deal with. So there's a lot of I think there's a lot of fight disruption that Leviathan have. You got the Apollo ult as well that can do that, as well as like Silver like ripping the Lycan Curse. So I think that the team fights, I like the team fight possibilities for Leviathan quite a lot around the objective.
Phoenix coming in and saying 100% Abrahams win. They have won the draft. GG. Go next. Is this over before it begins, Jake?
I don't think so. I kind of like the Abrahams draft a little bit better, but there's so much playmaking on the Leviathan team. It's hard for me to even know what the team fights are going to look like, because you have Sinclair and Apollo just like doing their thing, and like you don't really know how that's going to pan out. It's so much chaos and so reliant on like hitting your skill shots across this Leviathan draft. Like, they could either take over the game explosively or kind of fall off. For Abrahams, I feel like when you get away with a Yamato pick, that's when she feels good. Like, you already had the control from Vindicta and Billy. You already have a bunch of damage. You already have a frontliner, and so Yamato could just add on to all of those things and be ultimately a potential hero who snowballs the game. That being said, Apollo, another very scary potential snowball hero, one that loves to take over early and find those kills. So that being said, both these teams have been very conservative in the laning phase, and neither has found huge advantages on one another. Which I think is a testament to their skill.
The action's picking up. Before I sign off, quick reminder, exclamation donate in the chat. We are already up to $970 for our winners. We want that number to eclipse $1,030 away. Thanks for your donos in advance.
Oh, a parry on the lane here. Big connections onto Overseas on the ship, but only one heavy does go into him. Vin and Billy want to chase this one down. Shiv, that stamina nerf is going to start to bite in a scenario like this, but some clean moves from Overseas get him out. And under the tower, the heal should be good enough to get him back into this lane. But that is a very nice parry from Together on the Billy. Back to a extremely comfortable pick for him in a game where I think Billy can be very dominant.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're not seeing the counters that has so far shut down Billy, so you'd expect a lot of value there. So it's kind of cool, actually, in that respect, that we get Abrahams, who gets to play Billy for the first time today, and then you get Shiv on Leviathan's side for the first time, just to kind of see. I mean, it's cool to see the level of these players and how deep the hero pools have really truly become at the top level of EU.
Sai on the Sinclair, man, this guy just has so much responsibility on his team. He's playing these super high skill characters that somewhat feast and famine. And now on the Sinclair, time to see if he can do it again. It's such a big performance in that last time we saw these two teams fight. And a bait by Apollo waiting around the corner. Celeste tries to step up into Silver, thinks it's a 1v1, and instead gets a bit ganked here. Taz just barely gets out with his life. Great bait there of the small camp, and the reward is going to be a full cleanup of the enemy camp. This is a nice little early victory in the mid lane, and Taz on 1 HP just can't contest that.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, nice power slash connected, and suddenly in a lot of trouble. Just didn't expect Demons to just come in out of nowhere. The flying strike as well to apply more pressure, get some extra lifesteal, and wow, that's a good way to answer back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge solo kill for Demov. And Yamato, arguably one of the most important heroes in the game, to have an explosive start, to be ahead of the game, where if you're not killing in like your power slash ulti power slash combo, sometimes it's hard to finish some of those kills. And by the same token, you get far ahead, you start exploding people, you can just reach this level where anyone you see is more or less instantly dying. The Rem getting some nice heal value here with Overseas on Shiv in the lane. A lot of sustain in this one, ensuring that, yeah, they might take some damage on the tower, but they're still gonna be able to hold this one down and get the farm.
monster rounds and headshot booster there for the Rem. So a lot of lane pressure with that. Just clear out the waves really fast. Buff up your own creeps. Rem has a pretty awesome gun actually in the early laning phase as well. It does actually a good amount of damage.
Oh, big dive. This is so deep under tower. Some counter pressure coming onto Billy, but he's going to maybe bait them into a counter chase because Taz is here to add numbers into this one. But the Rem heal is so valuable, man. Shiv is just soaking this damage. At the same time, Rayet came into this one, matching the rotate from Taz. But with Vindicta up in the sky, it's kind of hard to answer back. Like, Hoot on the Vin. This could be a scary game. I didn't even realize it's Hoot Vindicta. So this is a guy who generally gets a bit more farm. If Hoot can find some of these snipe kills, you have some insane scaling potential. A kill onto Sonya, though, just what the doctor ordered. We know how incredibly terrifying Wraith can be in the late game on this patch. Anyone who's been playing Deadlock recently has a sense of the monster DPS this character can deal. So shutting her down early is one of the best things you can do. And it's not so easy.
No, it's not. And good that you drew attention to the Hoot on Vindicta. I don't think I've ever seen Hoot play Vindicta. Okay, Demov, who by the way has a pretty iconic Yamato, able to get some get a clean kill there onto the Apollo, and Demov is definitely a threat. Has support here as well, so no punish. I don't think really all that possible. The Lycan Curse will try to dive in, but that's about as far as we go. And
it's
back
a
on
nice
the lane
big
again.
bite out of Celeste. Something, and he's got Life Strike if he wants it, so it's a nice big buy for Silver. I think he's gonna just chill up here. Buffs in 10 seconds, grab some boxes before that happens. Taz might challenge this, but being on the low ground is pretty difficult. Should be essentially a free buff. And the Spirit is going to hold that one for OCs on the Mina. Can make better use of it in the early game.
Are we still seeing Express Shot on the Silver builds? Imagine we must be right.
I think so. I mean, you really this character just wants to live and get burst damage quick to pop your ulti, right? That's essentially always what you want.
I'm gonna have to let the beast out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not an easy game for Fremont though. Like when you have like a Kelvin Dome or a Billy ult that just like guarantees lockdown people, it feels pretty easy, I think, to connect on the Silver. This game, it's a little bit more speculative, right? You have to kind of outskill and outplay. Seems like the tether misses from Hoot though, and every failed gank on this lane is like, Hoot wants to be finding kills. If he's not, the other lanes are going to profit, and we're starting to see another death on Sonya. The Ivy support not really working. I think there's like late game, the Ivy support should be insane for Wraith, like buffing or DPS more, but this Ivy's just gonna feed now. I mean, I don't think you can defend this any longer. Does he have a stone form still? I mean, he's baiting well, but maybe that is actually enough of a bait. Hold on, the Wraith's gonna be coming back into this. Oh wait, the tricky moves. OC's no way. A little bit of a mind game there. Still could die to just one more card, but the connection isn't good. A dive in, desperation from Wraith, needs to get this counter kill and is gonna find it.
Man, the cards are still pretty nasty. Still pretty nasty. Because the patch just dropped today, I haven't had a feel of like a lot of the adjustments.
The cards got nerfed, but I think they're pretty small nerfs. Like, I think they're still super scary. Execute good from overseas though. Finally, this lane gets some revenge onto Vindicta.
Billion maybe some trouble here. I don't know how much you want this noise. Yeah, you know, clearing out those creeps, but at least there's no more Shiv knives to get stuck by for now. But yeah, looking pretty nasty right now. Looking pretty nasty. Gonna see Sai picking up this Guardian on the left side, and he's gonna steal the airdrop actually, and that's gonna allow him to rotate really fast. So that's actually a really nice ult to pick up for the fast rotation into mid.
Yeah, just gonna push some lane creeps out. You got a wave crashing already. He's gonna stay in the Ivy ult a little longer. Just a little harassment ult, and gonna come back and make this defense on his own side lane. That counter kill is nice for Wraith, but he's still disadvantaged in the lane. They're putting a lot of emphasis on making sure this Wraith does not have comfortable space, which I think makes a ton of sense. They know how scary this hero will be if you allow it to get to the late game. Silver with no Lycan Curse, but diving behind the T1, too risky on this character.
The Hidden King's power is yours to wield.
Okay, for real airdrop coming in, I think. Looking to go across to gank the right side lane. Yeah, looking to try, was thinking about it. Perhaps they're too far back now. So going back into mid.
Little aerial duel there coming in. Stolen ult from Sinclair. He's going to fly away, I guess. A lot of damage coming in on mid. Sinclair, though, ooh, he can't quite get the ult off. He needs to stay out of combat for a few seconds to get that value inside. I think he's just going to have to head back to base on this one. A lot of trades in the middle lane, but no real kills being found. I think both teams have so much mobility and kind of lack lockdown that no one can find kills. Execute misses, though, this time. And because of that change to Shiv, right, Billy gets out of this relatively unscathed. Heavy punch manages to land from Vindicta, but this is a Rem we're talking about. He's going to tag along with the Shiv and heal right back up from all this damage. Shiv is very tanky in this lane. It has reactive barrier too, so Vindicta's tethers are really going to help more than they hurt, honestly.
Yeah, the tethers are going to be really helpful against the Silver as well. Looking about, you know, because you're talking about that late game, like
Apollo
shutting the Silver down. Oh man, Demon has been getting it's just like anything that he wants right now with this pressure. It's doing such good work in mid. Pops the ult. Is definitely in a lot of trouble here. Gonna try to get out of there.
He's in trouble. They're gonna maybe run him down on this low HP. Really want this kill. Maybe some ganks can come in. Even Mina's coming into this one. OC senses an opportunity to strike. There's two, like, 1 HP players defending this mid lane Guardian. But together here on full HP on the Billy too. This one could get more scary. Ooh, Mina doesn't find anything there. A good read from Abrahams to respect the threat of that Mina gank. But also look at the damage on the left side Walker. I think OCs must have just picked that one up in the chaos, and that left side Walker is going to die very easily at some point in the game. Not to mention, OCs has all the space in the world to farm up and snowball this game. Wraith is absolutely in recovery mode trying to defend this.
Yeah, only a 4K difference overall right now as we get to the urn spawn and the bridge buffs as well. So here is bridge buff number 1. Ray is going to pick up that one. The left side of the map is where all the action is going to be as we have that urn spawning now, and you can see that we get the dive coming through from Irizumi here for Leviathan to pick this one up immediately. And the rest of Abraham's kind of rallying around that weakened Walker as this urn is collected. Are they going to try to mount a defense? You would imagine they would absolutely try to challenge a drop-off, but they're also so cautious on that left side Walker.
It's a tough spot to be, right? Because if it's even you leave a 1v1, I don't think anyone's going to be able to 1v1 Mina and hold the Walker. So if you don't leave 2 heroes here as the defense as they are for now, you're going to be giving up a player advantage on the right side when it comes to the urn drop. So great little double bind being put on Abrahams, and even OC's actually might be rotating over to teleport into this one. They're going for a fight in mid. They're just giving up urn. They're trying to find kills elsewhere. Abrahams, but no damage is really being done. They're fighting in the mid. But are they actually getting anything? The silence is good here from the Mina. She comes into this team fight, finds 1 kill, now a second. Nightmare scenario here for Abrahams. They find 1 kill, but remember, they already gave the urn dunk just for the chance of taking this fight. Together, and Demov just has to back off, and Sai just, I believe, just pops the Yamato ulti to reset his cooldowns.
Yeah, so getting an advantage here for Leviathan. It's starting to get kind of serious. I mean, a 10k advantage with that weakened Walker as well. That it just feels like such a... It feels very, very nervous, I think, if you are Abrahams thinking about any pressure on that left side lane. Considering that the Guardian is up for Leviathan on that lane. So that Walker's can get pushed very quickly. So it's definitely a problem right now. You know, Abrahams definitely need to try to find a way to deal with this Guardian at the very least.
Observers, I'm sorry, but chat would like an egg check. If you could just hit tab real quick, that'd be
They're
great.
so desperate. I don't think anyone buys egg this game. There's no Kelvin. There's no Dynamo. Maybe Irizumi on the rim? I don't even think so. Yeah, he doesn't buy it. They want to fight, guys. It's so bad to fall behind in the super early game. We're already seeing some of the signs of that, right? With the pressures OCs is putting on in the map. He hasn't found a ton of kills in this lane, but he's doing more than enough. Like, he's keeping 2 players here. He's generating player advantage across the map. By the way, Rake fighting with Sai in the right lane. Looks like a bit of action there as Taz is a bit forward. Shiv just holding on the mid lane. Sonya does find Sai though, so hold on. Despite the number advantage, there was 3-on-2, and it's actually Abrahams who find the kills. Really nice
really
connection.
important. Really important. And that's mid Guardian goes down.
Okay, they're kind of right back into the game now with those. Kind of cutting the soul lead in half. Nice catch from Taz. Taz and Sonya combining with the ults for that value.
Well, Mina's actually going
trouble,
off. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
dead. Toxic got him.
But there's 2 players here that are coming to intercept. Can Mina escape
Sanguine.
this? You'd imagine she'd be able to. There is a Sanguine retreat available, so there is the first pop. There's the second one, who is trying to get the snipes in though, but it's not going to be enough. And that is a kill on the Billy, and she gets out. That's really well played by OCs, who was looking for that for ages.
Oh, the Hex, brutal Hex there onto Taz. Rabbit Hex amping all that damage coming in. Apollo more than happy to pump it. Big push now on the left side. At the same time, they're putting some pressure onto Wraith. This could be a tower going down. Billy still looking to make the defense. Parry is baited out. But meanwhile, across the map, it's actually Saint who drops. So a fate from Leviathan here on the left side, but it's more than that. I mean, they're seriously pressuring on both side lanes simultaneously.
Oh man,
they're
it's so
actually
hard
going to get any walkers from it, but the kills are good enough.
And it's so hard too because you've got the helpers on the creeps here on the right side as well. So the big pressure, they are actually going to be forcing back the Rim Apollo combo here for Leviathan. So the defense for Abrahams, they actually keep both walkers up for now. But more players are going to be coming into this fight. Who's going to join in on the Vindicta? Also, the attention from OCs coming in. The big 17k Mina in this fight now as well. So Abrahams are going to be in a very tricky spot here, not to lose at least a couple of players.
Yeah, OC's doing such a good job coming into these fights and manages to take down Sonya. The slowing Hex, the silence, they're good, but they're just not good enough to keep the carry alive. And a beautiful save from Sai to keep Rayek alive on that one. Like the stolen Wraith ult into the Rabbit Hex so you can't chase down and Apollo gets out. Would have been a very nice kill to find for Taz. The lead continues to grow. That this is like shades of game one, right? Pressure across the map. But every time Abrams try to make a big group and get some kind of responsive punish, it falls flat. They're the ones who end up tanking big damage. Celestial deployed. It's going to do pretty respectable damage. The snipes could come in. OC's taking a risk, sticking around here, even after using the Sanguine Retreat. But the walkers are just an absolute sliver of HP. Sai, maybe caught. Would be a nice little punish kill for the rest of Leviathan daring to stick around this long. But man, OC's is fearless here, even on the Mina, right? Like the potential of being ganked is very real in this character. He is not respecting it this game.
Yeah, always enough distraction and ability for him to maneuver. And there's the save on the Billy. The quick pickup, and finally looking to work on this Guardian has been up for absolute ever. The Silver now looking to lock things down. Very low HP here on Fremok. Should be a kill, but there we go. Finally, Fremok goes down. Billy also extraordinarily low here. Still alive by the skin of his teeth, and Billy trying to get around the corner. The heavy melee is all that is able to do, but that's going to be a wrap. And now it's the Leviathan team looking to turn this fight around, and they can just roll this into a walker as well. If Abrahams are not careful, they need to reinforce that left side position.
Oh, Vindicta so low, and a solo kill from Irizumi to defend the mid walker. OCs would have loved to snap that one up, but a little statement victory there from Irizumi. The sleep setup onto Vindicta isolates her with the slowing Hex. Got a significant buff in this patch. And now with a couple players dead, man, the walker, like you said, Dan, very much on the cards. Luckily, the wave is pushed out enough where it's not a foregone conclusion, but the soul lead is starting to reach that point where there's no obvious way back into this for Abrahams. They need to just navigate these scenarios perfectly, and an even earn is not what you want to see if you're an Abrahams fan right now. Lift comes in onto the Silver. They're trying to kill her before that ult pops, and they manage to get it done. The lockdown is good enough. They punish, though, onto Taz on the other side of the map. Likely going to lead to that left side walker. Abrahams throwing caution to the wind. They're going to charge forward and try and just find more kills, get more of those wonderful comeback souls to get into this, but giving a second walker is a high price to pay. Wait, the earn became a comeback earn, actually, though. So that does give a little bit more chance, and instead of contesting it, looks like Abrahams are trying to get two walkers.
Yeah, that is a huge pickup. But the fight here in middle is really important for Abrahams to get some value back here. And there's a tag along onto Mina. That's going to keep the realm safe for now, and Mina as well. And there is a Nox Nostra from up above, and this is a chase down onto D-Mob, who is the highest value player on the team. He gets just completely stunned in the corner, and I don't think there's much left to do. D-Mob falls as well, and this Walker is also about to meet the same fate. So right now, Leviathan, I mean, they're going to say by saving that Walker, that puts them ahead by one. But they should start to have to come onto the map here, Jake, I think.
Yeah, they've got to be so careful now with that low Walker HP. If the wave ever crashes again, that Walker is just dead. That being said, if you're very conscientious about it, you keep that backdoor protection on. It's going to be very hard to close out, and it might even bait Abrahams into an overextension. And with mid boss up, right, like any big mistakes, big bad team fights that happen in the mid, you might take that Walker, but if you give up a bunch of kills in a mid boss, it is not going to feel worth it. Abraham's very aware of that fact. They're going to be cautious in terms of any play they do go for.
I see Sinclair.
Still confidence being shown. Leviathan, 2 players like taking position on the left side of the map. Mina gonna rotate over into this one as well. Sanguine being used aggressively. Like once again, OC's no quarter being given to the defenders right now.
Yeah, this is suffocating aggression from Leviathan. Like deep into the enemy jungle, applying so much pressure. And well, there's the REM sleep. So that allows him to disengage. But Wraith actually is getting targeted here.
If she stays in combat, she needs to get a zip out of this one. The zip is just a little bit away. Can they get the damage on her before she gets it? Maybe she'll be safe out of this one. Apollo trying to intercept. The Soling Bolt's coming in, but I think the movement is just too good.
Yeah, that's all.
Good escape from Sonya, but I mean, that's a couple seconds away from losing your carry. Like, that was a good bait by Irizumi.
Yeah, we have a lot of little helpers that are stuck on the creeps on the right side lane. That's going to push all the way to the base Guardians. So that's going to force Wraith to go deal with that. And in the meantime, that may allow this mid walker to get challenged. At least it does seem like Leviathan, they got positioned to try to find a kill. Looking for someone.
They're certainly looking here. A lot of players grouped up in that right jungle. Just daring anyone from Abraham's to try and come up and claim any of that farm. Abraham's are playing very conservatively around their walker, right? Playing where they are strong. OC's taking a bit of damage. Hold on in the mid lane. Could be in trouble. Yamato ult popped. Mina, Sanguine's away. Up to the roof. I think she should be out of this one. Together. Won't let her escape that easy. Has to chase her down, but feels like she's out of this one. And with that escape, Yamato ult pop, Wraith ult pop. That's a big commitment. There could be an opportunity here for Leviathan to force something.
Yeah, you can see they're hungry. They're really hungry to press the advantage, try to convert. But Abraham's are doing a good job actually evading some of these trickier fights. And
the silent slowing hex.
So aggressive.
Man, these tools are like, they're just instantly getting dumped on Vin when she steps up. This is a scary Vindicta game. To be behind on Vindicta, to be public enemy #1, this is a real test for Hoot.
And they just can't get that on the map here, so it's a free earn pickup. And I mean, going for the deposit doesn't sound like a bad idea to force some of these fights that Leviathan have been hungry to have.
Yeah, without the Yamato, the Wraith ult, I don't know that you want to fight this, but at the same time, giving up these like aggressive earn turn-ins is kind of the worst case scenario. You also have Sai is showing opposite side of the map. There very well could be a contest, but Silver has scouted this one out, and I think if no one's there, yeah, this is going to be a dunk. They're going to try and deny what souls they can. Great positioning from Riek, positioning his body there to block some of the denies and make sure that they secure the lion's share of the advantage there. Bit of attention being pulled in the side lane, but Saint recognizes, look, it's going to get awkward here. Trying to chase down the Magician is not necessarily the kill you want to attempt on relatively under-farmed Celeste and Ivy.
Okay, so more aggression coming in on top of this mid walker from Leviathan. Are they going to drop down and are they going to bait mid boss?
It has to be a fake, right? I mean, Dimov is low. He's going to go heal. Oh my god, this is crazy, right? They have into Yamato ult. Surely you don't go for the finish. They're staying on it though. They're still, I mean, part of it is just making sound to force them. There's the gank squad coming up north here, looking to take a fight on the high ground. Lift has been deployed. Yamato Power Splash does miss, and OC swarming forward, finds the kill onto Hoot. Sonya is down as well. Leviathan, 2 free kills, essentially everyone at max HP. They've only really expended the Wolf form for this. Defending their mid lane walker, and the mid boss just has a shred of HP left. Maybe you go in for the cheesy last hits. Taz is trying to snipe down the mid lane walker. He is going to get that with the full burst. But Sai could also be finding the punish. It looks like they're going to go for it here. Players on the sides. Billy may be looking for something. Rem wants to contest. They do have the Rabbit Hex from Sai if he's in position for this one. The parries are going to be crucial. Abraham's find 1, but 2 go to Leviathan. Maybe the best you could hope for on Abraham's, but if the team gets wiped now, it's not going to feel good. And it looks like that's exactly what's on the cards, Dan. Abraham's running for the hills. Billy trying to do what damage he can, but it's just meaningless in the face of this overfarmed Mina and Silver, man. 32k OCs. Full confidence here in the Mina, deep into a day that hasn't been good for her.
This is pretty wild. Abrahams are in a horrendous position, completely, fully on the retreat. That walker is gone. Every lane is going to be fully pushed momentarily.
Oh, Sonya down again.
My power.
Sonya's been getting abused all game. I mean, you got to hand it to Leviathan.
In fairness,
what the hell
is OC's doing in the enemy base while they're TG Walker? Like, if I was Saudi, I would have never expected that. But OC's has been playing full aggression this game. Like, from game 1, where he really was just like the role player, I will farm the world and come win the game in 60 minutes. This game is the exact opposite, right? He is playing full tempo, which, in fairness, this is what Mina does. But credit to OCs, right? Far from a one-trick pony, right? That he can adapt this quickly into a game 3 after a very rough game 2. And it's their game to lose now, frankly. Like, this is their title, and they're wanting to reclaim it. Abraham's now backs against the wall. Like, one more bad fight, and this one's lights out. With 2 more minutes on these rejuves, doesn't look good. Hoot already being assaulted. Jeez, that love bites hurts so hard. And I think this might be enough. Okay, Hoot is just going to live. I think he had to get some support tools there just to be able to survive the Toxic.
Yeah, E-shift, Transcendence, till cooldown. It's just, it's pretty hard to kill Amina at that point. Oh man, 40k deficit. That's pretty significant. About 35k even.
Thanks.
Abrahams, what tools do they have to really come back into this one? I mean, the team fight doesn't look strong enough right now from them.
I mean, Yamato's a hero who needs to be ahead of the game. Vindicta, I think, is sort of similar. Celeste also a little bit. I mean, Wraith arguably has like the best scaling in the game, but in the end, like, she just can't play, right? She's just not able to stand and deliver. You're getting jumped on by like a stolen Wraith ulti from Psy. You're gonna get slept. I mean, Sonya just needs so many items. He needs like counter spells and debuff roosters, and like to even build the damage,
Let's go blue.
it's not meaningful until you can actually frontline and like get your damage out in the fight. So, you know, the way the game is right now, it's like such a long way to go before you have these tools. He's got the debuff remover. He's going to go for this Wraith lift onto Apollo, pumping massive damage into Apollo, but Apollo's living quite a bit longer. The rescue beam pulls him out of trouble, and now this is starting to look like a scary chase. The stolen Billy ult coming in, trying to catch some of these retreating players who want to get value out of the region, pulled into the Rabbit Hex. Big connections. Hoot is down. Gets absolutely evaporated there on the Vindicta. No takiness whatsoever. And maybe more kills on the cards. Italios on huge. That curse slowing people down. Ivy ult pulls Billy out, but it's just not enough. He gets bursted out of the air. And it just throwing paper planes here at a brick wall, man. Leviathan not even dropping below half, I believe, on anyone throughout that fight.
Yeah, and they can fall back onto the own as well. Like right now, Abraham's doing everything they can to push the mid and left lane. I mean, maybe there's a walker in this one for Sonya Sniper, but they're going to lose 2 shrines and first stage patron. I don't think that's in question at this point, especially with 2 rejuves still up. That's absolutely going for them. And I mean, if you're Sonya Sniper, do you try to take a shrine? I don't know. Okay, he's going to fall back.
I mean, that would be a risky gambit, right? Getting double shrine and drop also in this new patch is a massive deal. Especially the double shrines. You have now super creeps the rest of the game. They're incredibly strong. They give less bounty. The wave state is going to be brutal for Abrahams. It's just got a lot worse. It was bad before, Dan, and it got somehow a lot worse, which kind of tells you the whole story. Rejuve is expiring, and they didn't get the patron drop, so a couple slight positives for Abrahams.
Are we calling this game right now? Does Leviathan have this game on lock?
This is the last legs, man. This is like Abrahams are on a prayer and a dream and very little else. I don't really see the realistic way back in. You need some kind of a big error, some overconfidence. But Leviathan have shown in game 1 that they just don't make mistakes like that, right? Like when they have this big edge and they're ahead of you in the game. That being said, there's a lot of, you could get greedy right now. You get, I'm going to jungle these camps. I'm going to be a little bit too crazy. I'm going to be a little far from my team. And you could get caught in a 6v1 and start to feed a big snowball back the other way. So Deadlock is a game where you do need to be very cautious. As much as you should always win in this scenario, like a couple bad plays and it doesn't feel that way anymore.
All right. Sai's going to get pulled in and absolutely focused, but doesn't seem to do too much. A chain gang of himself. He gets 4 with that chain gang as well that he stole. That's a massive play from Sai. And Abrahams are definitely in a lot of trouble here. Demov is sending it straight forward, trying to get the targets in there. The blind light gets sent out as well. This is the fight Abrahams are looking for, but can they get the damage?
Getting stat checked a little bit, but hold on, Rick. It overextends just a bit into that one. The damage didn't really come in. Sai does find Saint, but I think that's actually a nice trade. And hold on, Wraith starting to pump the damage, getting her opportunity to stand and deliver together on a sliver of HP. Gave his life for that kind of a setup, but Wraith just couldn't get the connection. A stolen Wraith ult is going to pull her deep out of the base, just barely. She manages to get caught on the base guardians and live a moment longer. She has to hold this one down, has to get big damage, but Silver comes in over the top. 1v1ing the Celeste, who gets a sick parry off. That actually potentially could be punished for another kill. These deaths are very brutal, but beautiful movement from Fremont. Gets him out of a sketchy situation. And I think Leviathan are going to probably just beat a hasty retreat. That one was way too close for comfort.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary. And you're starting to see the power of Wraith coming on board a little bit. But I mean, again, this risk rate 35k. I mean, you're looking that's basically the average almost for the other team for every single player. So it's definitely a really tough situation. Like you said, the super creeps are going to be a huge problem here for Abrahams. Their base is going to be pushed a lot. And as soon as Leviathan regroup, all they need is like one pick.
They're going to go for this right now, I think, Dan. Yeah, the Ivy flying in, 5 seconds without Rayek. This is such a tiny sliver of an advantage, but you've got to grasp anything given the difficulty of this game. Say, Demov swarming in on top of the ship. Can he get this burst in? Already takes a ton of damage. The Rabbit Hex is brutal. The stolen Yamato ensures Sai is just free to play in this game. Silence onto this Yamato. He's gone! Where did the help go? Oh my god! Osi's on the 12 streak now. Wants to take home this victory. Wants to take home a title defense here in the night shift. Desperation warps him from Hoop, but he's caught on the building. He can't get away. Osi's finds that one as well. Now, hold on. The capacitor hit from Wraith is good. E-shift forced out. But are you going to be able to stick around, Sonya? You almost have to. You have to be fully desperate right now. The Sonya's just styling on you. No way he gets outplayed. Osi's unbelievable turn there onto the Wraith. He looks like he was caught dead to rights, but instead it's the game. Patron already dropped, I believe, to Creeps maybe during that fight, and it should certainly be game over. Just maybe a quick reset for Leviathan, and you're gonna have a 4v2 player advantage. Doesn't want to wait though on Fremont, looking to get a quick kill. A death on Silver would be a death now in this moment. Ivy's not even in the base, not able to heal up, not able to reset or establish that defensive tool, and Rayek gets the burst out of the air. Taz standing tall against the world, but it's just too big of a task to bear. Leviathan healthy across the board. They need to burst down this patient before the spawns come in, but they're gonna do just that, Dan. And Leviathan make the defense 2 in a row. Fluke allegations are busted, man. Leviathan are the real deal here in Europe.
Incredible performance from them. And Pocket, are you back with us, friends, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm here celebrating with y'all.
Let's go.
A Swift 3-0. DDK, I say 3-0, a Swift game 3, a finish from Leviathan. They do not allow their opponent back in this. This is now 2 weeks in a row. Are they officially the better team? Are they winning in the draft like chat has accused? How are you seeing this play out, DDK?
I think so. They're definitely legit AF. I think the thing is we have to. There's that one consideration. The teams are still adjusting to these patches. We had a patch that was pretty big in terms of tunes today, and then also the recent patch itself changed so much in the game that I do think there is a caveat where it's like, yes, they are really, really good, and they had some sick victories here, but there was a level of volatility in this series that I don't think we had previously with these top teams, where I think the drafts were a little bit more volatile.
Yamato hasn't won for the last 2 months. I'm trying to get an official number. Oh, shift 22. We're on shift 29. Just put that in perspective. 7 weeks since a Yamato win. Was there a weakness in the build for Abrahams, or did they get outplayed early game and it steamrolled? How did you see this playing out, Jake?
You know, to be honest, I think this is just, these two teams are so evenly matched. When one team gets that edge in the early game, maybe they have arguably a more comfortable, more well-balanced draft, and they just go from there and take the game over. Like, neither one gave each other any chance back into games once they had that kind of an edge. To be honest, I think these two teams are just incredibly closely matched, but Leviathan were the better team today. I got to give them credit for that. Like, yes, it's a new patch, but that's just as big of a challenge for Leviathan, right? And the fact that they had done it last week, you know, if they had just started the wins after the new patch, I would be more sympathetic to that argument of, look, it's a new patch, things can, change and be chaotic. But you did it on the old patch, now you do it again on the new. The old king is dead, long live the king.
I have to give a shout out to OC's on the Mina. We see so many of his highlights in here, and every time you see him the top left, he's on fire. Mina, kind of a priority pick here, DDK. Do we expect that to continue as we go to NA next?
I think so. God, this fight was so nuts. That was such a sick outplay. I think that play kind of encapsulated for me, like, one of, just OC's, I think for me was the MVP of this series. And I think the Mina's definitely a really, really strong pickup. You can see what the top players can do with this hero. Obviously, OC's, Sonya Sniper, these are like probably some of the absolute best Minas on the planet. But it really shows you how much you can do with the kit. And so it seems like that utility level at this point in the game is super important. And there's a reason why these teams were like first picking Mina.
Hoot trying to play from behind on the Vindicta all game did not play out for the Abrahams. They look to come back stronger, but this is back-to-back defeats at the hands of Leviathan. They've been to 10 finals, make it 12 now with 2 wins. Leviathan, the new kings of EU, at least while things are being shifted up here in the patches. We're going to take a look here at our MVP in just a moment. But Jake, do you agree? Do you think it's OCs who is our player of the match?
Look, I mean, game 1, I was like more willing to give it to somebody else because I think the team set him up so well. But game 3, like OC's brought that home, man. He was coming to every fight in the Mina, playing that tempo style, and to show both looks to be like best in the class on the tempo carry, like pushing the advantage, like opening up opportunities for your team to get those big fights into early, like get ahead of the game early. But he can also play, you know, the late game secure, high responsibility, but like a much later timing carry. Just that's like really the roles in Deadlock right now. So if you're a carry who can do both, best in class, there's an argument to be made that you just are the best. And honestly, for OCs, that game 3 was a hell of a statement.
They're crunching all the numbers. We're going to have OCs on your screen. I have a feeling in just a second. DDK, it's a team game, but this vampire shined, dropping 14 kills, a single death, and 14 assists, leading the lobby in damage. What did you see from the Mina player tonight?
I mean, I think Jake summed it up really well. Like the thing with OCs that's interesting is OCs, when he first broke out onto the scene for us, he played like what is I feel like a very, very greedy style that was his team kind of built everything, the entire team approach around him playing super greedy, but he was very untouched and he showed very optimal farming, comes out into the map at the right time to have some of the fights. Some of the evolution that we've seen, I think, from the days of that gun carry Ivy that he used to farm up on to like the super mega active Mina that is able to have like really sick outplays in like these 1v1s, using all the mobility that Mina has to a maximum effect and just landing like every single shot and just being present in all of these fights and brawling from like start to finish. This is like very, very high level stuff from OC. So I feel like I've seen the evolution of him as a player. We saw that talent and that potential, but it keeps getting pushed. And I think we really saw that in this particular game on Mina. I think this is one of the most impressive performances from OCs that we've had.
That dive on Billy in the last clip, by the way, is disgusting how much value that gets on the map. He's behind the enemy walker. He kills your frontliner. You send 3 other players to gank him and he gets out. Like, that is a nightmare scenario when you're playing Deadlock at this level of play. Like, you fall drastically behind in a moment like that. It's more than just a kill. It's 4 players worth of time investment and they get nothing out of it. That it feels terrible, and honestly, it really sets up the team to continue the advantage. And I feel like OC's on this game in the Mina, he was doing that left, right, and center. Like, he's always pulling attention to himself. He's being in like the forefront of a lot of these engagements, and yet still 14-1 and 14. So you just can't really do better than that in my eyes. A near perfect performance on the carry.
There is North America tonight. Paulo Bomeno, who's trying to spread rumors in the chat. We're only halfway through the show, guys. We got DDK and Jake locked in. I'm Puckett. EU is done after Leviathan takes their 2nd win in a row. This time it goes to a game 3. But they walk away with the dub. OCs, your MVP for the night as they bank $1,000. Reminder, you can keep adding to these players' prize pools with the exclamation donate in the chat. Your contributions are very much appreciated by the new champs, I'm sure. They're not used to playing in a grand final and walking away with money. What was that, like 12 losses before they started winning? This has been a grind, DDK. So whether or not it's just the current patch, you got to be kind of happy for a team that's been on this bubble for so long.
Yeah, I mean they've had their target, they've been shooting for it, and they've made all these improvements along the way. We had a great interview, I think it was from Sai, right, last week, where he was explaining some of the new things that they'd been working on to kind of bring them together in a team to improve that team play. I think one of the top line notes from that was that they started doing demo analysis together in a way that allowed them to understand each other much more thoroughly, so that they could always be able to react without even necessarily even needing a call. It's just that they can all interpret the situation in the same way and can act in the same way. And so that just like dialed up their team play. We can see it from the reactivity in the game, how quick they are. It's so visible on the server.
In the future, we'll hopefully getting OCs on the mic. We'll get an interview for you guys. In the meantime, we are wrapping up EU. When we come back from break, we've got North America. Reminder on the bracket. BWC just pulled off an upset off Night Shift's broadcast, Jake. Are they the team to watch tonight?
I feel like there's never been a scarier moment for melee creeps trying to defend the dynasty here in Night Shift. There still are champions. They got to lose here and now if somebody wants to unseat them, which is going to be a yet tougher call. But both Floorman and Bird with Clock, these are very serious contender teams that have been grinding, that have been putting in the time. And it feels like that melee creeps advantage, maybe it's starting to slip away. A big patch just hit. There's never been a better time to try to usurp that title in North America.
Doorman is coming for NA. They're not afraid to play him. At least that's what I've been told, chat. In the meantime, we're going to a break. Listen into this excellent interview. We have the great Liz. You've seen her on Valorant. You've seen her on League shows. I got to work with her on a Red Bull broadcast. She's amazing, and she's teaching us all about these players. We got to sit down with Goober. Here's what he had to say. Goober, what a name.